As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys.
Welcome to Crunch Time Sports with Jeff Booner, Lukas, and Gentry. It is Wednesday, November 13th, and we are back. It is Wednesday. That means the Doc is joining us, the almighty great John Maakaron.
Love Wednesdays.
Lukas is joining us in a second. We got a lot to get to, fellas. A lot of good combos. We're going to have the Doc on. I'm giving my impact players out later. Get to it. Pistons play tonight. Red Wings play tonight. Come on.
Packed night for Detroit, baby.
Oh,
I'm excited for tonight. I've got some things to talk about to the boys, so I'm excited. Or to the people. I want to get a feel for the people on a few things. So pumped up.
Yeah, that's fair.
And the Doc, dude. I love the Doc. The Doc's electric. I look forward to the
makes
Doc.
everyone say.
Yeah, people think that me and the Doc, we go back and forth, this, that. I love the Doc, man. I'm excited to have that man on the show again. Can't wait. After I'm interested, and you know what? I'm going to ask him about to open it up. I want to know what the man thinks about Jared Goff, so I can't wait to hear. Me and him have gone back and forth about to calm down. I can't wait to bring that up. Cannot wait.
Shout out Mike Reed, by the way, gifted 5 Crunch Time memberships. Also, Mike Reed posted on Twitter, tagged us. He got his Fuck the Packers hoodie.
There we go. I did see that.
Which you can grab. It is on our website. If you haven't seen it, then I'm going to put it on the screen for everyone. Just to remind, it is a sweet design. Roman did a great job. We have it in hoodies. We have it in T-shirts. Here it is. You can check it out, officialctsports.com. I mean, look at this design. It is absolutely beautiful. You can't get much better than that. Him flipping off Packers fans. Like, are you kidding me? Like, get your hoodie, man. And have it. We also have it in the shirt, but for the wintertime, get yourself a hoodie. So shout out to Mike Reed for the donating memberships and for purchasing some merchandise. So
shout out.
Should we put one of those out with just Brian Branch, no FTP, just the Brian Branch one?
The people want it.
Yeah,
I was just thinking.
Yeah,
hey, I'm brainstorming over here.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I think even in everyday life, you could agree, fuck the Packers. You know what I mean? I think it's
for sure.
You know,
it's a year-round thing.
Yeah, we could make different ones where it's like FTB, FTV, like it's like you get different.
Yeah, maybe some people just want the Brian Branch double bird. You know, they just want Brian Branch walk around with. I'm not going to do it. It's a family show, but you know,
yeah, it's a family show. Yeah. Also, hey, real quick, speaking of the merch, shout out to Brad. Ran into my sister. My sister was wearing Crunch Time gear, and Brad ran into her at a local Chipotle. And I don't know if he's watching here in the chat live, but Brad was like, hey, love Crunch Time, love the fellas, showed some love. So appreciate that as well. And if you guys, if you see some merch out in public, go up to that person and be like, yo, I like it. Those are my guys. I like that.
Jeff's trying to start a cult over here. That's what.
No,
relax,
I like it. It was.
I like it. Go up to each other, give each other the sign. Like, whoa,
yeah.
What are you trying to do over here? The cult, man.
It's like a speakeasy. You got to say a certain, you got to say something, do something. You get let in the club. That's how it works around here. Okay, that's how it works around here. But shout out Brad, man. Shout out Brad. I think I've seen him before. I'm not sure he's in the chat, but appreciate you for that. Being a fan of the fellas, that's big time. All right, unless you guys don't like Brad, I guess we'll just
bro, it's just such a random. I thought you saw Brad in the chat, and you're like, if you're here, Brad, like he's not even in the chat, bro.
One of the viewers.
If you saw him,
shout him out.
Shout out Brad. Brad's a legend.
Hey, shout out Brad.
Yeah, you're welcome, Jeff. There you go. We like.
Hey, I don't want to make you give love to Brad. If you don't,
you're like, I guess you guys don't like Brad. You basically just forced a hand on us there.
Yeah, man.
I love Brad Holmes.
Hey, Brad. No. I got you.
Brad Holmes.
I appreciate you, Brad. All right.
I thought you saw Brad in the chat. You didn't. You just say, hey, Brad. I was like, what are we doing? I don't know who Brad is.
I do. Watches the show.
Shout out Brad Holmes.
Shout out Brad. Well, hey, a lot of things transpired today. Derek Barnes, he was in the locker room. Hey, Derek Barnes, who went down. And I wasn't sure if he would ever return, but now, he talked to some local media, and there might be a little slim chance he's back for a postseason run. So that is that to me is big news because Aiden Hutchinson. I think we would all agree, unless you guys think there is a chance that he will not play at all the rest of the year. I tend to lean that way. I don't think I know the Super Bowl thing happened. There's no way he comes back for the Super Bowl. I don't think that would be like a smart decision on his part. I don't.
I'm confused. I didn't see anything on Hutch today. So is Hutch? Is there a conversation with Hutch? Did someone say something?
No,
today
that
about Hutchinson?
It just stems back to when he was first injured and people were like, "Oh, there's a chance he could be back for the Super Bowl." And then I see Derek Barnes talk to Dave Burkett and they were talking about it. And he suffered MCL and PCL injuries, but the ACL was intact. And he's not ruling out a return this season, but sounds realistic about him. Slim chance to return. And also I mentioned Hutch because he's rehabbing with Hutch. So I just wanted to bring that up. Reassure people that he probably will not be returning. And Derek Barnes, I'm not going to say he definitely will, but I'm pretty confident. In my opinion, not a doctor. Don't claim to be a doctor. But I think there's a chance Derek Barnes joins this team for a postseason run. And I think that'd be awesome. Derek Barnes, I think he's a very, Lions fans for his first year. He struggled a little bit. At this point, very valuable player to this team. He's very good. I love Nowaski, but Derek Barnes is.
All right, yeah.
You've kind of seen a bunch of guys step up at linebacker, even obviously with Malcolm out. So, I mean, getting him back, Jeff, when you first started talking, you made it seem like we were never getting him back, like he was dead or something, or he's dying. But no, I mean, obviously it would be huge to get him back, and especially with even more injuries kind of piling up on the defense. Never go wrong having Derek Barnes back, but who knows if that will actually happen.
Even if he does come back, Jeff, I mean, I'm with you a little bit. I mean, if he comes back with the last couple of games in the playoffs, like a two or 3 game stretch in the playoffs, he's coming off like a major injury. Same thing with like Hutch. Like the Hutch, I know I did see the only thing I saw today was a tweet saying that Derek Barnes is rehabbing with Aiden Hutchinson in Allen Park. Like they're doing different things. It's not full rehab, but like they're doing specific things together in the building. So like even if Hutch comes back for the Super Bowl, like he's not going to play a ton of snaps because it's like, dude, you're coming off a major injury. Like I think it's more so just the fact to get him out there for the Super Bowl. And I think like with Derek Barnes, I don't know, he didn't do his ACL obviously, but it's a long term. It's a tough injury. So like for him to come back, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not even in the building to know the details fully of the injury, but the impact is going to make, like when you're like, dude, we're in week 10, you're looking at week 17, 18. Other guys are going to step up. Guys are going to get comfortable playing in those spots. The defense is going to get comfortable. Like Nowaski's already getting comfortable in there. You see Ben Neiman, all of that. Are you laughing at what are you laughing at over there, Jeff? Are you laughing at this injury, Derek Barnes injury? What do we have going on here? This is not a funny injury. This is a serious topic. All right. So I don't know what's so funny over there. But no, I think like once he gets back, it's going to be you got to get worked back in type thing. And at that point, if you're in the playoffs, there's really not working guys in. Like he'll be able to be a limited snap type of deal, but like fully, no, it's not going to be like 100% impact if he does come back. John Hughes said, see James Houston last year. Like, yeah, I mean, and James Houston didn't really give you anything last year.
Nada.
Yeah, because did James Houston come back last year?
Yeah, he did, but he just didn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I guess James Houston, it took him a minute. I mean, he's just starting to like even show flashes of what he could be, or can be. I guess like he looked very good in one game. So I don't know. It took a while for James Houston. Come on, Klotz. Klotz, just over here chirping. Just get this guy in here. I mean, this guy is he's having too much fun. I mean, what?
You're on the sideline for too long. How we doing, fellas? How we doing?
The Dougie P. Iafrate. Hey, I will not.
Yeah, Dougie P. Iafrate.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
He's making bad calls, leaving good players on the sideline, Bill.
Yeah,
bad game management.
Yeah, I did like Dougie P. I did. I did. Yeah, I did. We're in agreement there with Derek Barnes. It's unlikely. I saw the injury report too. Taylor Decker might be back this week, boys. That's big time. Taylor Decker, Sam Laporta, I think is still out. Yeah, no practice today. He's kind of in the same. I guess he's in that boat like last week. A couple guys didn't practice and they didn't play. He's kind of in that. Didn't practice. I don't know if Sam Laporta plays. I don't think he should. This is the Jags. It's like. This isn't, you could keep him out a week. You know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. But let me pull this up for you. Some guys that could be returning. Yeah, Brock Wright, big game, huh? Brock Wright, don't sleep. Some guys that could be returning this week, which I do think is a positive thing, is, and you see right there, Iffy, full practice. Emmanuel Mosley, full practice. Za'Darius Smith, full practice. Broderick Martin, full practice. Now, Malcolm Rodriguez, limited practice. I'm not sure if he'll play. Not sure. We'll see. Ankles, I guess, could be worse. Taylor Decker, limited, but he says he's expected probably to play at this point. So Sam Laporta I would keep out, but the rest, boys, you might get Iffy back this week, which is big. I hope so.
Love it. Big news about Broderick, too.
Yeah, I mean, Broderick was full practice the last 2 weeks, so I don't know. We don't even know anything with Broderick. He's been full practice. Same with
boy. It's a big boy.
Yeah, I mean, he's been full practice too. So I mean, we just have to wait and see with those guys. Taylor Decker too, and then just like from what I heard today, Taylor Decker's like they're gonna know more tomorrow. I don't know. You want Taylor Decker back. I don't care who you're playing. You could be playing the Panthers or anything. You just want your offensive line fully back. So like that would be the Sam Laporta one's interesting too.
Did you see that Dan said he would have moved Pineda left if he had more time, if they had a whole week to prepare?
I did not hear that, but that's fair. I mean, they did it last year, so you would have thought they would have done it this week or last week, but it seemed like it was just out of nowhere. Taylor Decker gets hurt, and it's a scramble at that point trying to figure it. They probably already had their game plan in. They had all of that. So, but I don't know. Like this week with Taylor Decker, they're not supposed to know. Like Dan said that he's going to know more tomorrow, so I don't know. I mean, I would like to have him back. I would like to have a full offensive line. I would like to have a full offensive line. If you can rest Sam Laporta this week, rest Sam Laporta. That would be my like ideal situation. I know people probably want Sam Laporta to play, but whatever that injury is, like a shoulder AC joint, I don't doesn't sound like it's like the best injury, even though he's day to day. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, I want Houston back, I want Iffy back. I cannot wait for him to get back. I know a guy that he gives a ton of credit to, so much credit for his development, is Aaron Glenn. And I don't know if you guys saw ESPN put out, and they've been reporting, Jeremy Fowler from ESPN. Aaron Glenn has been generating a lot of buzz in the head coach market. He said he's been generating more buzz this upcoming offseason than he has in past years. Like it's trending the way of Aaron Glenn getting some opportunity somewhere. And I want to pull this up so I can kind of quote from it. So Jeremy writes, Glenn is, quote, generating more NFL buzz than in the past. He says his name comes up more here. I'll put this up for you guys so you guys can see it. But his name comes up more often in league circles. And he also said here, he's not just talking about the Saints. We're talking about other teams as well, potentially. Here, let me put this on the screen. So his name comes up more often in league circles than I remember, and that's not just in relation to the Saints job, which he has ties as a former assistant coach there. He's always had leadership traits and now has the proof of concept with Detroit's surging defense. So we're talking, fellas, we're not just talking about the Saints here. I mean, that's probably the favorite for him to go.
Yeah.
We're talking about Aaron Glenn. Other teams are like, hey, I want Aaron Glenn. Aaron, bring him home.
Yeah, I'd be willing real quick just to say, like, same situation with the Saints as there is with the Jets right now. I mean, they need a complete culture shock. And as far as the guy to lead the locker room, that's the thing that they don't have right now. I think Aaron Glenn, the main attraction for him is one, obviously, he's been a part of a rebuild, but that's a guy, whatever locker room he goes into, he's going to command. So I think the Saints, obvious connection, but I could even see the New York Jets. They probably want to stick with the defense because they only have a couple more years of Aaron Rodgers. That defense is very good. So I wouldn't be surprised if they want to keep that defense-minded head coach. So I think the Jets, outside the Saints, a good team to watch as well.
Yeah. Everyone, John.
I might go ahead.
No, I was just waiting I thought you were about to go, Boone. I mean, obviously, you kind of do think the Saints. I was just going to ask, what other teams do you think? I mean, a game like Sunday night where he has a shutout second half like that and really just won them that game when the Lions' offense were struggling. You've seen countless plays out there or called plays out there where AG just kind of shut Houston down. I mean, CJ Stroud was kind of irrelevant that entire second half. So wherever AG does end up going, he definitely deserves the job. I was just kind of going to ask you, Boone, after you went, is there any other spots where you guys think? I mean, the Jets wouldn't be a bad one, but do they go to another defensive-minded head coach after Saleh kind of struggled there and never really got the offense going? And I mean, obviously, it's still not going now, but I just don't know. I don't really know of any other teams. I feel like the Saints is kind of just like a match made in heaven for them. So
I don't know. Boone, let me just say this because you can go on about the Saints. I just want to say with Aaron Glenn, I think he's going to get a job before Ben Johnson. I'll just say that. I think Ben is going to be a little more picky because he's so good that he can choose where he goes. I think Aaron Glenn, not that he's not good. He's good. He's good. He's a very good defensive coordinator. But I think he's more open to just taking on a challenge. Like I think he's more like, just chill. You know, if I get an elite quarterback, I'll go coach them. But Aaron Glenn's like, I'll go to the Saints. You think Ben Johnson would ever go to the Saints? Like, fuck no. You know, but Aaron Glenn, he's got that dog in him. You know, he'll go over there and coach that franchise and try and turn them around. Probably because he's been around Dan. He sees what Dan's done. But I think honestly it's realistic, Boone, that AG gets a job before Ben. I do think so.
Yeah, I said it yesterday, and we had the conversation with Klotz. Like I mentioned it. Like obviously I've been all over AG to the Saints over the last few months, but like if I had to pick a coordinator, and it's crazy to say, who's the one that you're like 100% sure is going to get a head coaching job, I probably would say AG. And it's not because he's better than Ben, and I think Ben's the best offensive mind right now, OC in the NFL. It's just more so to where I think being an offensive-minded coach and a defensive-minded head or coach, that when you break it down, like defensive-minded coaches, like the trend in the NFL is no longer defense. Like as much as you would want it to be, it's no longer defense. People want the offensive. Like you see what's happening in Chicago, and it's like a clear like spitting image of like, hey, we need to move on from Eberflus, and we need to go get an offensive-minded head coach because they can't figure anything out there. So that's where it's like for me, it's just like if AG has an opportunity to get a head coaching job, and he's going to have an opportunity, I think he's going to be able to pick from 2 or 3, to be honest. And I think the Saints is going to be the one he chooses. I think AG is instantly, as a defensive head coach in the NFL or defensive-minded coach in the NFL, you take those jobs instantly, whether you think it's a good position or not. Like AG being a defensive mind doesn't have like the options to be like, hey, I just want to wait. I want to wait until the best opportunity. Like, yeah, he might have an opportunity at one point, but as a defensive coach, those opportunities don't come around a lot anymore. Like look at Saleh just got fired, defensive coach. Like they just don't work out. Like D'Amico's the one that's working right now in the NFL. But Ben, the situation with Ben is we've already seen Ben 2 years in a row essentially turn jobs down. Like AG, I don't know. There was no confirmation or anything. Like AG or he interviewed for positions. I don't know if he was offered anything, and nothing came out that he was. It came out that Ben had offers, obviously, and he had his pick from whatever team he wanted to go to, essentially. So I think Ben is in a position to where he's able to wait more because he is on the offensive side of the ball. I wouldn't be shocked if there was nothing that opened up this offseason, and Ben's like, I don't like any of those offenses. I don't like what they have going on. I want to wait to see maybe where Shedeur Sanders goes or where these players go, and then I'll make a pick after this year. But yeah, I think AG, I think he's a lock to get a head coaching job. I think he's gone after this year. And then you got to start thinking about who's next in line for AG.
So, you know what, Boone?
Well deserved, too. Well deserved by AG because he has coached his ass off the last 2 or 3 years and with tough defensive rosters. And like last year, wasn't the best defensive roster. The man pulled a rabbit out of the hat every single week after the second half of the year. So he deserves all that credit.
You know, Boone?
What?
Proud of you. All right.
Hey.
Because everything you said about offensive coaches, spot on. I'll ask you guys this. I'm gonna put you on the spot. We're gonna have some tough conversations. Because I don't want people to don't feel pressured to answer one way because it doesn't take away from the job he's done in Detroit. But I'm just gonna ask you point blank. Do you think he succeeds as a head coach?
AG?
Yes.
I'll answer. I'll be very honest. Yes. I think he's like the Dan Campbell, D'Amico Ryans type, where he's a former player. He's hard-nosed. He knows exactly what players want. He's able to build a culture. Like I think there's defensive-minded coaches who didn't play. I don't think Robert Saleh played in the NFL. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think he did. I don't think Matt Eberflus, defensive guy, he might have played in the NFL back in like the 30s. I don't know. But like I think like it's like the D'Amico and the Dan Campbell type of thing to where it's like he's played before. He knows what it takes. He's been in the locker room over the last 4 years in Detroit. Like, he's going to take that same culture in Detroit. Now, I will say this, Jeff, one big thing, and it's not always on the head coach. Does he have a good GM? Like, that's what it comes down to. Like, Dan's very good. He installed a culture that no one in the NFL could do. And I think, like, I give credit all to Dan almost. And I've said this before, because he brought the grit culture, and that's like, he embodied what they are. But guess what Brad did? Brad brought him players too. So as long as he's getting players and if he can instill what he's about and like who he is as a former player, I think he's going to be successful. I don't see a world he's not.
Yeah, I mean,
I
he's a good.
Depends on his quarterback, because I think when you look at the defensive coaches that got hired in 2024, obviously Harbaugh's been there before. He's got Herbert. Raheem Morris, secondary head coach, and then he was a defensive coordinator for the Rams. Pretty much the same path as Aaron Glenn. He has Kirk Cousins. They even drafted Michael Penix, so his quarterbacks are good. He's succeeded. You can say what you want about Mike McDonald as far as his defense, but Geno Smith, okay quarterback, and so far you look at what he's done, he's been an okay head coach. And then finally, Gerard Mayo, kind of too early to tell with him. He doesn't have a lot of talent, but with Drake May continuing to play the way that he does, New England doesn't look as bad. But then the ones that kind of stick out, you talk about like the Robert Saleh, they got Zach Wilson. So AG, that's why the part why I don't think it's 100% a lock, because I think AG is aware of that, and AG is doing it without Aiden Hutchinson this year. He's going to get Aiden Hutchinson back next year, and there could be. We have to see the openings that are there, but if there's no shiny, attractive piece on the offensive side of the ball, like I think New Orleans is a match, like because of the connection there. But when you look what he's actually inheriting, it's going to be a very old roster. Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, Tyrann Mathieu. They just traded away Marshawn Lattimore. They got problems at quarterback. Alvin Kamara is on a contract that's getting older, and he's becoming more expensive. And your number one receiver, Chris Olave, right now might not be playing football next year because of the concussions. So that's why when you look at it, I just think that AG, if he gets Aiden Hutchinson back next year, he's going to have the spots that follow around. So I think it makes sense for him to find a job. Like, obviously, he's a defensive coach, but I think as defensive coaches had more success, which I think will happen around the NFL, teams will kind of pivot a little bit more and realize, okay, if you can get a good offensive mind, like Jeff and you guys have been saying, then he's going to go for it. But right now, I'd have to see the openings. I think as long as he has a good quarterback, he'll be fine. But I think any defensive head coach that doesn't have a good OC or quarterback is not going to have success. He's going to do a great job at leading the locker room. But I just don't see anything attractive for him right now in the openings.
Yeah, no, Lucas kind of took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say there's just certain situations and certain scenarios, like good quarterback or not having a quarterback, not having a good GM, that I think obviously that are out there. Like, there's jobs out there that he wouldn't be fit for, obviously wouldn't do great in, just because given the scenario. But I do think he has all like the qualities that you look for in a head coach. So I think he will do well, but like, I just don't think there's that many teams out there that are offering great scenarios for a first year head coach to kind of walk into. So I don't know, might be better off if he did just stay another year and kind of work with the Lions defense. I'm just, some of the situations out there, just, you don't want to just leave just to leave, in my opinion, just to go take a head coach job.
Yeah. You know, I look at it like this. I think obviously the situation does matter. It has to matter. But when you look at AG as a defensive mind, as a defensive coordinator, he is excellent. He does display a lot of those leadership abilities that you look at as a head coach, the way he speaks at the podium. I mean, just his presence. It's like, okay, yeah, he could definitely be a head coach. But you guys, you know what? Hey, good job, fellas. Hey,
what?
I don't even have to. Guess what? As long as he gets his OC right. Klotz nailed it, huh?
OC and GM, or if they have a good GM.
Yeah, that's it. That's the point I make with D'Amico. Bobby Slowick nailed it. But here's the problem. He's got to continue to hit it. You know what I mean? He's got to continue. He has CJ Stroud, though. So to your guys' point, he has a great quarterback. But it's just harder. I mean, you look at the last Super Bowl winners, and at least the last like 14 Super Bowl winners. You have Andy Reid, Sean McVay, Bruce Arians, Andy Reid, and then you have Bill Belichick, of course. And if that, I guess, could be like the outlier. I mean, he had Tom Brady, but still, Bill Belichick, greatest coach. Pete Carroll, another defensive minded. So you have Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll. But besides that, you have Doug Peterson, Gary Kubiak, John Harbaugh. What would you put like John? Is John I guess
defensive. So like John and Mike Tomlin kind of got hired in the same era.
So
I think they are like I don't think people like the point to that is like there are defensive head coaches that are successful. I think the way the game's going, and you see like those types of like Mike Tomlin. I know Arthur Smith wasn't a good head coach, but just trying to go find these offensive minds because like in the NFL, it's like you have to go out and you have to have an offensive mind in the NFL now. Like it's a quarterback's game essentially. If you want to win a Super Bowl, like Andy Reid, the best offensive mind in the NFL. Like you go look at Green Bay, like all of these off the teams at the high level, like Kyle Shanahan. Like you're chasing a guy like that who is just offensive minded to help your quarterback. Because like Klotz, I'm with you on the point too. Like it is like it's tough. You have to find the right situation. But like even if you look in New Orleans, they're gonna have a chance at a quarterback next year in the draft. So like for AG, if you're looking at a good position, you get to go fresh in. You get to hire your own OC. You can go get whoever you want in your OC. You can make your own staff there. And then I'm guessing in 2025, in the next 8 months, guess what's going to happen in New Orleans? Derek Carr's out, and you're probably going to draft a quarterback, whether it's Cam Ward or I know people hate him, like Carson Beck. I don't think it would be a good choice. Or maybe you land the number 1 overall pick, and you're able to get Shedeur Sanders. Like they're going to have an opportunity. They have what, 2 wins right now? Is it? Or 3 wins maybe? Like they're going to have a chance at a top 5 pick, and they're going to be able to trade up. Like AG, if he takes that job, I know he's a defensive coach, but like whoever he brings in as an OC, like they're going to have an opportunity to kind of start from the bottom, essentially kind of do what Dan did here. But they went with Jared Goff, but like, hey, this is your team now. You're going to have to start winning 4 or 5 games year one and like building up your own program. And I think he could do it. Like I have no, and I think he would be able to pick an OC, to be honest. Like I think AG knows what he's looking for. Like Dan's done it here in Detroit. I think AG has a similar mindset.
Yeah, I will. Here's the thing, and this is where I'm at with, I guess, Steve, like you mentioned, the getting a rookie quarterback. I mean, the thing that DeMeco Ryans, when you have Bobby Slowick, like, and DeMeco obviously, I'm sure helps. I'm not saying he doesn't know anything about offense, but when you have guys that specialize in offense, that's what you want for young quarterbacks. So he's going to have to nail that OC position, or else he'll end up like, as some of these other defense head coaches that can't seem to get it right and they get fired in 2 years, 3 years. So yeah. I do root for AG. I think he has some qualities. If it was me and obviously a decision to make, I would go offense, but that's kind of how I've always thought. Because like the last defense head coach, besides I guess Bill Belichick, would be Pete Carroll. I mean, it's been about a decade, right, since he won. So it's just how the league's trending, but doesn't mean he potentially could have. Saints is a tough spot. I mean, it's a aging player. They got some young guy like Olave. Yeah.
Well, it's gonna like the Saints are like after this year, it's a complete rebuild now. Like they're starting. I think when you fire Dennis Allen, and some of the coaches you fired, it's pretty clear that there's a rebuild coming in New Orleans. Which I think
slandered for that Saints top 5 pick.
Yeah, you were. But like it's obvious now. Like now like Derek Carr's, I'll bet you he's out. Like a lot of those guys are going to be gone. The only people who are probably safe is like Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave, or like maybe some of the rookies and stuff that they've drafted the last few years. And then which is, if I'm AG, I'm looking at him like I'm build my own team, my own football team.
Well, speaking of the guy who's going to coach this week, Za'Darius Smith. I was looking into some things, fellas, about this matchup, Jags. That O-line, it's got some Jags on it. No pun intended. I mean, they got some Jags on it. What's the starting guard? Brandon is Sheriff.
Sheriff, yeah.
Yeah. He's been solid.
Sheriff.
What?
I'm reading his name. It looks like Sheriff. Brandon Sheriff.
I just like it came out of nowhere. I don't know what.
My bad. You said Sheriff. I had the depth chart up and I saw
Sheriff.
Sure. Yeah, my bad. And when you guys didn't say anything, dude, I'm on the depth chart page. I thought I froze and like got kicked. I'm not looking at you guys. Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you though, Jeff. Keep going.
I don't even know what I'm doing here. I mean, I you know what I will say though. Speaking of the matchup, they've had some issues with their tackles. They have Walker Little. You guys remember him? He was like a mid-round pick. Big man, but their tackle, they got Antoine Harrison, the tackle from was that Georgia, I believe. Was that? I think it was Georgia. He's been all right. He's been all right. But their offensive line's a little it's not great. And I think Za'Darius Smith this week. You know what he's done the last 3 games against the Jaguars?
What's that?
3 games, 2 sacks.
Ooh.
I like that. I like those odds. I know Dan Campbell said it today. Oh, I just want to see him push the pocket. No, he's going to push the pocket because Mac Jones, he's not as mobile as Trevor Lawrence. He was ruled out today. No Trevor Lawrence. I think Mac Jones, he's going to get Za'Darius Smith is going to be able to smell his cologne. If Gus Johnson, I think that's what he says. He's going to be able to smell his cologne this week. So Za'Darius Smith, fellas, I'm curious what you guys expect. What would be a good game to you? I think Dan kind of nailed it, but I'll say I like him getting a sack this week. I do in front of that home crowd. Woo-hoo! Come on.
Why not a sack and a half? Why not a sack and a half?
Hey, round it up, Boone. Say 2.
Why not go 2 sacks at Ford Field on Sunday, huh? Give me 2 sacks. I think, honestly, Jeff, with the offensive line and Mac Jones playing, this is a perfect game. First game was Za'Darius Smith. It's a 13.5-point spread. This isn't you're going in there. It's a pick-em game. This is a big playoff game. You're expected to win this football game. You're back at home for the first time in weeks. This defensive line can eat on Sunday. This defensive line can eat on Sunday. I'm going to pull something up because I think, Jeff, you know what I'm going to do. You know what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at a certain prop. I don't know if it's out because I haven't looked all year since Aiden Hutchinson went down. But there's a prop where I think you go look at the Detroit Lions to record 5 sacks. I would take that all day. I think you go out there and you eat versus Mac Jones. Hey, I'm eating Mac Jones for breakfast, lunch, and dinner if I'm Za'Darius Smith. Why not get 3 sacks on Sunday, huh, Jeff? We went from 1 to 2 to 3. And you know who's going to get a sack Sunday? Josh Pascal, Aleem.
It's like Beyonce. You get a sack.
Levi O. Why not Trevor Nowaski? Everyone's getting a sack. I think it's going to be a big week. I think it's going to it's like a perfect tune-up game for this Detroit Lions defensive line before you get into the Vikings again or the Packers again or the Bills or the 49ers. Hey, get warm up a little bit. It's like in track. You got to run a couple warm-up laps. That's this Sunday for this defensive line.
Yeah, I don't hate Z. Go get one, and we got to pray to God that Mac Jones leave the game hurt because then you got the CJ Beathard show, and I think that just changes everything. The dynamic of the game instantly changes. Favorites Jacksonville, and you can't let them get loose. But no, obviously kidding. But Za'Darius Smith, go out and get one. There ain't no reason he can. Jacksonville is going to be probably down 3 possessions by the middle of the third quarter, forced to throw. Get his confidence up. Get the chemistry in the rotation going. Big day for the Lions and big day for Z in his first debut for Detroit.
Yeah, I'll just say constant pressure. Obviously, he gets home once or twice. That'd be phenomenal too. But hey, Boone, I do like it. We haven't bet that all year. You were pretty hot on that bet last year. It was always plus 600. And I'd seen Tyler said it in the chat. I was just about to say it too. Possibly an iffy sack, Boone.
I would love it. I would love an iffy sack.
Right.
Maybe a little safety sack. I wouldn't mind that at all. Brian Branch gets in the mix. Who knows?
One of the two. But hey, either way, Za'Darius just gets home once or twice. That'd be awesome. Provide some pressure. We've needed it. You know why you brought him here. He does all that. So that's what I'm looking for.
I'm going to take an easy way, not an easy way out here, but it's really not. I'm going to give the people the choice here. Can we do a poll, Jeff? Are we able to do a poll?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm looking here right now at the sports book. It says Detroit Lions to record 5+ sacks, plus 430. The Detroit Lions to record 6+ sacks, plus 950. And the Detroit Lions to record 7+ sacks, plus 2,100. Can you put all 3 of those there? And I want the people to be honest. I don't want you just to do 7 because you want the Lions to get. What do you think hits out of those plays? And Jeff, let me know. I can name them. 5+ sacks, plus 430. We'll put the odds in there too, just so people know the value, so we can get the value here. 7's a lot. We haven't hit 7 at all this year. The highest we've had is 5. But it's Mac Jones in a beat-up offensive line. So 5+, Jeff, is plus 430. 6+ is plus 950. And 7+ is plus 2,100. I'm interested. I don't think 7 is going to be the one that hits, but 5 or 6. 6 is looking at me saying, "Hey, Booner, we might break the record this year. Not the record, but season high. Season high."
No better game to do it, Boone.
Plus 950. It's really looking at. I'm going to do the plus 430 no matter what. 5 sacks. You guys heard it here first. Don't let anyone else take that from us.
You know what it felt like just now? You know, like if you get those auctions, it's like going once, going twice. And you said, 3. And then I was like 4. And then you started getting to 5, 6. And I was like, I'm going to tap out here.
Hey, if you didn't know too, those numbers, those odds are just for Za'Darius Smith. Nah, that'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah, 7 sacks in a debut.
Derek Thomas out there.
7 sacks.
Like in a Hutch game where we just every time they were on defense, it was like Hutch sack again, another Hutch sack. It was like, what?
It's just like Wilt playing against the plumbers. That's what Za'Darius is about to do.
John Havlicek was no plumber. Okay, correct yourself.
He was an electrician. Not a plumber.
They made James Naismith proud.
It was a blue collar job.
If James Naismith was to be reincarnated right now and watch your LeBron, your King play, he would be disappointed in where the game he played.
Guarantee you, Naismith is sitting there going, "This is awesome."
He's looking at 3-point line.
This is exactly what I wanted basketball to be. No, James Naismith's looking at it being like,
game I loved.
Where are the Bob Cousy's at? Where did they go? The Bob Cousy's. You need them.
Man. No,
Man.
That's what Za'Darius.
How's the poll looking?
Okay, so poll right now.
I feel like it's going to be very biased with the 7. I could be wrong.
Yeah, let me see. It just like disappeared. Let me see if it's there. I don't think they want Za'Darius.
I've got it. 23 votes. In first place right now with 62% of the votes. 5 sacks plus 430. I think
thank goodness the viewing audiences they're thinking with their brain here.
I think we just roll with 5.
That's the number. Yeah, that's the number. I'd say once you get to like 6, what's like the highest sacks in a game? Caleb just got sacked 9 times, so that's got to be up there. 9. I feel like that's got to be the most.
Yeah.
I will say this though, like last year, it is pretty telling though. Like last year when we took these bets, like at one point, one of them, like 1 week when we hit, it was like plus 1,500 for 5 sacks, and then a different week it like moved down to like plus 900. Right now, like a year later, with the defensive line, I know there's no Hutch, but 5 sacks plus 450. So they like really think it's going to happen. Like the books are looking at it, being like, "Hey, we got to be careful with this one."
Honestly, 9 for the like when they face the Bears, we might have to hit that 7. Maybe I think we might have to flirt with that 7. I think
I would be in. Like example, Jacksonville to get 5 sacks is plus 1,100. That's what it was all year last year for the Lions. It was like plus 1,500, plus 1,100. It's at plus 450. That's crazy.
Yeah, guys, you know what the line is right now? The line is minus 14.
It moved. That's the biggest of the year.
14-point favorite. That is like.
I mean, as it should be.
I know.
Never seen that in the
NFL. You are right, and I will give out our score predictions Friday, and I think we're all probably going to be in the same direction. But is there a part of you that sees a line like that, and you're like, yeah, like I know because hear me out. When we do our pick'ems on Fridays, if this wasn't the Lions, we would be like, I don't know, like, could they stay in there? Maybe they lose by 10, 13, like 14. I know it's the Lions. I know. But, like, that's a big line, dude. That's a big line.
I don't remember the last time I saw a spread.
Honestly, I'm just asking a question. If I'm being honest, I did do I posted a video today, and in the video I did an ad read for BetUS, and I bet on 13.5. I like 13.5. Like 14 to me is like a weird. Why is that like it's a weird
football number? 13.5 is a football number.
Weird, but they're still going to cover that.
If Jacksonville right now walked into Baltimore, are you taking that spread or are you leaving it? Especially after what you saw happen to Denver, because I think that was a 10.5 point spread. And they covered. They blew them out the water. And you got Mac Jones on the road in one of the toughest environments in football. No Christian Kirk. Travis Etienne's yet to show up. They can't stop a nosebleed on defense. We talked about the offensive line.
Why was the Titans game last? Is it because of
to be fair, Klotz, you brought up the point with the Ravens. I'm taking the Jags at that point.
I'm not.
They've played the last 3 weeks, and I'm just being honest because I think I might have been the only one last week to take the Jags versus the Vikings. I think every single person on the show took the Vikings besides me. They only lost by 5. The week before they played the Eagles, they only lost by 5. Played the Packers the week before.
There.
Yeah, played the Packers the week before, only lost by 3. That's why I think it's and even last week was Mac Jones. That's why for me the 14.5 is a little more shocking. Like I think the Lions, who the Lions are, I think it's like the Lions. I don't even know if I would put the Chiefs. Like if they played the Chiefs this weekend, I think if it was 14.5, I would take the Jags because the Chiefs are playing in close games. And like even with the Ravens, like they beat the Broncos, but like there's some close games they've been in. So like I think the Lions, like they've blown the Dallas Cowboys out. They blew out the Titans when they were supposed to. Like they're probably the only team in the NFL that you can really trust with like if there's a big spread, you're like really putting your nuts on the table and being like, I'll take that spread. Because they're the only team that's really like consistently have done that. Like the Ravens have weeks, but they've also played in extremely close games and they've also lost 3 or 4 games now. So you're sitting there and you're like, I don't know if I trust it as much. Same with the Chiefs. I wouldn't take the 14.5 with the Chiefs. Not a chance.
Yeah, I would only take the Lions because, like Boone said, I was literally going to say they've taken care of business when they faced every bad team, being the Titans and the Cowboys. They beat them both by like 30-plus points, and the Jags are probably worse than those two given the scenarios that they were in at the point in time. So, and it's inside the den. It's downtown. Place is going to be rocking. Mac Jones is going to be in a blender. They're covering that 14. You can honestly probably pump it up. I don't see how the Jaguars
20.5.
Yeah.
Why not?
He's not.
Jaguars terrible.
3 touchdowns. Find it, Jeff. I'll tell you got to find a football number.
Yeah, 13.5 I like.
13.5, 2 touchdowns, maybe 16.5, 2 touchdowns in a field goal.
I was bringing it up because the Jags, and I think they asked Goff about this and Dan. Like last week, they forced 3 turnovers. I know it's Sam Darnold, and I mean, this is how you know how I feel about the Vikings. I mean, Sam Darnold's fraudulent, but still they forced some turnovers. They got some pressure. I thought the defense did play a lot better last week. I mean, they did for this Jags team.
I think if Jared Goff didn't have a stinker last game, that he might not be like on it and kind of go into this game sleeping. But since he got that out of the way, I just think there's no way this offense is going to be locked in. Obviously, the strength of the Jaguars defense is probably their 2 pass rushers, but it's still not going to be enough, especially if Decker's back. The Lions offense is going to be rolling.
I know the defense played good, but even the first half last week, the Lions defense, they gave up 23 points, even though there was the turnovers. But I'm with Gentry.
Hey, you know what I like?
To me, they want to prove something on Sunday.
I'm with you. I know what I like this week. Jameson Williams touchdown.
Don't hate it. Demon. No, Jeff, we're going all in on Demon, I think.
That is true.
All in on Demon. There's no way Demon goes 2 straight weeks without scoring.
I can see J-Mo Beers cooking. It's just somewhere there's going to be a deep shot to him. They tried it against the Texans. Like I feel like everyone's going to score. I mean, no Laporta, and they're going to blow them out. Like you know what? I might even do both the running backs. I might be a sicko.
Combine it. Why not?
2 TDs. Both of them.
I might do like a 4. You know what I'm going to do? Actually, I already know what I'm going to do.
Parlay, like a little 4-legger.
4-leg touchdown parlay. Amon-Ra St. Brown, J-Mo, D-Mont, and Jahmyr Gibbs, all 4 to get in the end zone on Sunday.
Especially with no Laporta, most likely.
All 4 to get in the end zone. I know there might be a guy with 2. They might score 6.
You know what that means.
They might score 6.
Brock.
Oh, Tim Patrick.
Hey, let Tim go out and get one. Throw him out there on the perimeter.
Oh, they don't have touchdown scorers up yet. Let me check something.
Line Ronald Darby out there. Ronald Darby's been on like 12 NFL teams at this point. Let Tim Patrick go up and get one. Coming off the injury.
They have Tyson Campbell, who's a pretty good corner, but
who
else they got?
And the defensive side of the ball, they got like in the secondary, they got Andre Cisco, who's kind of like he's a safety, but he'll come down the box sometimes. Trying to think who else they got.
Cisco.
This is crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, Antonio Johnson, who? Tyson Campbell, we know who you are. Jerry Jones, who? Yeah.
Hey,
this is
Florida State.
This is something you never see in a game. The top touchdown scorers in this game: David Montgomery minus 250, Jahmyr Gibbs minus 145, Amon-Ra St. Brown minus 105, and then the 4th highest is Jameson Williams plus 165. The Lions have the 3 top guys all minus money, minus 250, minus 145, minus 105. If you combine all 4 together, plus 3,200, boys.
Oh my!
And I know what I think. Amon-Ra, he last week he was 7 straight games with a touchdown, with tied Herman Moore. Yep. So going into this week with that, like we just talked about, that secondary is going to be Swiss cheese. They're probably going to try to game plan to get him that record and be like the 8 straight games, first time in franchise history.
They always find a way.
Yeah, there are players like
last week. Like Amon-Ra, like it was felt like he was never going to get a touchdown, and they just run a little screen pass for Amon-Ra. Like they could have easily probably handed the ball off to just go behind Penei Sewell, just be like, here Demont or here Gibbs, go behind Penei. They said no, let's run a little screen pass to Amon-Ra, get the man his 7th in a row.
Even like you forget that Demont scored last week, because the whole time I'm like, he didn't score, and then it's like, remember Laporta got down at like the 3, and they punched it down.
Wait, Demont scored?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Last week,
I didn't know that. I thought he's gone 2 weeks. Okay.
No, I think he went 2 weeks like going into that game.
Yeah,
I believe.
But he's coming off.
I think he had like 30 yards on like a decent amount of carries. Like it was his worst game since he's been in Detroit. And it's not all just to blame him. Like that offensive line did not show up in the second half. They needed to throw more than they did to get back into the game, and that's why we have Jameer out there in the third quarter. And finally, Jameer started cooking. So it's never really time for Monty to get back going in that second half.
I'm gonna do all 4 of them combined plus 2,300. If anyone wants to hop on that with me, let's ride.
I might, Boone.
Hey, by the way, shout out. I didn't get to shout him out before the show, but shout out Tyler. He donated this before the show.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out,
Tyler. You're the fucking man. He says, "Don't."
Oh, you were gonna shout Brad out again.
Right. Hey, why not, Brad? Hey, yeah. Brad.
Shout out, Brad.
All right, let's welcome on our special guest here. All right, John Maakaron, the one, the only publisher of Detroit Lions on Sports Illustrated and host of the Detroit Sports Podcast and Lone Wolves Podcast, which you can check out on his website, which we will link in the description. As always, brought to you guys by BetUS. Please welcome to the show, the legend. He feels like he's got a different color hat every time he joins.
Yeah, I think I know what he did with this hat. He went blue.
You ever see those? Like, it's like one of those memes. Someone opens a closet. I thought he was same clothes. He has like the same hats. He's like, which one should I wear today? I'll just pick the blue one. Welcome in, Mr. Tom Maakaron. John, how you doing?
This is the Lions one.
I'm feeling good. It's a great day, man. 8-1 Detroit Lions. It's unbelievable. I'm having a better week than James Houston is. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Kool-Aid, Doc.
Doc is a Gatorade. Just tell
me.
Not Kool-Aid, Gatorade. Sorry, Gatorade.
I think it's Gatorade, Doc. Just get it out the way. That's the rumor.
Yeah, look, I think that's good. I think if you're James Houston and you have that situation, I think you just let it play out. You don't say anything. You let people debate it, dissect it. They keep your name out there in social media. Everybody saw it, and everybody's looking at it. Amon-Ra St. Brown talked about it on the podcast. Look, in the end, James Houston took a shit on the Texans. It's all good, man.
Hey, Jason Kelce came out. Jason Kelce came out and was like, I've done that before multiple times. He was like, I had to go into the bathroom or the shower before a game and shower up because I pooped my pants.
Okay, let's just see. There's like a whole cult to this stuff, John.
I know. Welcome to the league.
Hey, Doc, I do want your thoughts on the just the game. I mean, we didn't. This is our first time getting a chance to talk to you. How electric that was. The comeback, golf throwing the 5 picks. I know you talked a lot about it on your podcast. The resiliency that this Lions team has kind of displayed. What's your thoughts on really looking that bad and still finding a way to win? How much has that maybe moved you or at least pushed you in the direction of being even more confident that this team is a Super Bowl team?
Yeah, well, first and foremost, being 8-1, 7-game winning streak, going on the road and taking it to Houston in the second half. That means it's a double. Double serving of the old fashioned for the DOC. It's a good time to be a Lions fan. It's a good time to be a Lions content creator, to cover the team. It's absolutely unbelievable. But yeah, that first half, everybody was like, whoa, this is not exactly the game plan that everybody thought with all the turnovers, with Houston having the lead and the Lions looking out of sorts. But, I wasn't like everybody. I didn't think the ship was completely gone. I posted, I thought it was a 45% chance that they would come back. I thought that they would, at least make it a game. But, my mind always goes to what would have happened if Nico Collins and Will Anderson were there. how much more of an uphill climb would that have been? So credit to the Texans, man. They came out, they balled out, but in the end, the Detroit Lions, they handled business. They figured out, okay, we got to get our shit together. And once the turnovers and defense clamped down and the pressure kind of rose for CJ Stroud, who really missed a wide open receiver by lofting that football, which enabled Carlton Davis to get that second interception. The Detroit Lions were able to, tough out and really climb back into a football game. And when you look at it, this is just amazing for everybody to see the Lions play C football and then be able to play 30 minutes in the second half and win the game. It's not easy to do. They're making it look that way, but man, it was fun to watch. It's fun to go into somebody's house. It's great. I love all the fans going out to, these road venues and just taking over. Loud Jared Goff chants. The Detroit Lions are playing exceptional football when it matters most. And that's what grit is all about, is that this football team is not going to be defeated easily. And a football game is 60 minutes long, and they can play maybe a rough 30-minute stretch, where you got a big injury to Taylor Decker, and they come back in the second half and clean up their act, and no points in the second half. It's cheers to the Detroit Lions, 8-1. I'm enjoying every minute. Yes, we're talking Super Bowl and projecting, what's going to happen as a result of this. But at the same time, cheers to the Lions for winning these tough games and making everybody happy, especially too when they do it on Sunday Night Football in front of the whole country, capped off by Jake Bates getting revenge on his old team. Cheers to that.
And Doc, I do want to bring up, obviously, I think the biggest thing out of this game, and we talked about it all week and on our show on Sunday, was the Jared Goff situation, the 5 interceptions. Obviously, he was in the middle of an MVP race, and that kind of threw him out of that, it feels like. But we did hear Dan talk about it Monday. We heard Jared talk about it on Monday and kind of bring up, like, hey, this isn't affecting him at all. What are your thoughts on the 5 interceptions? Do you think it does affect him at all? Or is it really just one of these situations to where it just always kind of unlucky and he's like, hey, let's turn our head and move on from that one?
Well, first and foremost, I thank the chat for commenting on my appearance. I'm getting more positive praise for the clean look, more corporate DLC. I like it. I think it's more user-friendly for all the videos I'm doing that you're seeing online. So we'll see. I don't want to look like Brock from Pokemon. I want to look more corporate. So we'll see how long this lasts. But Jared Goff, it's really unique because, he's cleaned up his act. And that was, part of the reason why the Rams kind of fell out of favor. The turnovers just were completely out of whack with the Rams. And here with Detroit, Ben Johnson and Goff have really been efficient. And Goff got into the MVP conversation. But 5 picks makes it tough for the outside world who aren't really looking at the film that closely. They see 5 picks. They think he had a bad game. Really, in the end, 2 of them were not the best. The last one and the Hail Mary, the Hail Mary you can dismiss. But, the first one was one in which he stared down the target and allowed the defender to kind of get there and get his hands up Petrie for the interception. So, look, Jared Goff is going to have bad games. He's going to have games where the football you can see that this is a timing-based offense. And if there's just any sort of disruption with great cornerbacks or defensive linemen getting pressure, I asked Dan Campbell today, I said, hey, you kind of seeing the offensive line giving up some more pressures. What's going on? Well, teams are showing some different looks, different fronts, downhill, kind of, trying to challenge these offensive linemen early. And so the Lions didn't get into the rhythm they needed to as fast as they needed to. Am I concerned? No. Jared Goff runs this offense well. And here's the best part. If you're Jared Goff, you're like, finally, I can make some mistakes. I can just fling the football. I have the support of the coaches. And if they believe that he's throwing the football to the right target, getting it out at the right spot, and there's just, half a step from a receiver or a receiver not being exactly where he needs to be, the defense is helping. And the great part about having a great team is the defense can pick up the slack if Jared Goff has an off day. Am I concerned? No. Do I think he's out of the MVP race? He is right now. But I do think that there's a long way to go, a whole half to showcase what he's about against some good teams. And you got games against the Bills, 49ers, Packers, and Bears. So you're going to have some attention on these games. There's a chance to get back into some of those award conversations. But bottom line, when you need him most, he delivers. And that's all you can ask for right now. At this point in the season, 8-1, an 8-1 quarterback leading an offense that's doing some things. But there are some concerns. I do think teams will pick up a little bit what the Texans did to bring the pressure. But how many teams can sustain that for 60 minutes? Not many can. Because here's the thing, too. The Lions' offensive line will eventually wear you down so that you're not bringing the pressure with the same ferocity in the second half as you do in the first half. So weather the storm early, and the Lions did that.
And, Doc, you kind of just talked about that defense. It seems like after last week, specifically in that second half, AG's been a guy whose head coaching stock has been going up and up and up. But after that performance on Sunday night, it seems like it's really just boosted and they've kind of grown exponentially. What do you think the odds are that AG is out of Detroit by the end, or I should say the start of next season?
Yeah, well, the byproduct of winning is that people want your coaches. It's just the way it is. And winning draws attention. So if the Lions win the Super Bowl, it's almost all but guaranteed Johnson and Glenn are gone. Okay, but maybe down the road here, I'm going to forecast maybe a new threesome here that will entice everybody. And when I say it out loud, it makes me smile. But first and foremost, credit to AG. Everybody, myself included, looked at his defense the first couple of years and said, whoa, this doesn't mesh with what we like. We like, we don't want to give up that many yards and points and not playing press man coverage. But unfortunately, he didn't have the talent. And also, too, he grew. He got better. So it's not like there were some things he was doing that weren't great. The adjustments that he was not making in the second half of these games were clear. He got better as a coordinator over the last 2 years as he studied, as he also got better players to play press man. And obviously getting Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph playing together is legit an amazing thing to watch. So credit to AG. I do think that Aaron Glenn is going to be a head coach. And I heard you guys' talk earlier, and they're all true. You guys brought up great points. Even Booner brought up good points too. So I listen.
What's that mean, Doc?
There you go, Boom.
Listen.
What does that mean? You don't think I usually don't bring up?
I got things to say, Booner. That was funny. I want to talk about some things you were doing there after the game too. That was really utterly hilarious. That I took notes on. But I think everything you guys said was accurate. Everything you guys said was accurate. You need a good OC. You need to have a good GM. But if you're the ultimate competitor, yeah, maybe the Saints, Jets. But if you're AG, you want to compete. Let's just say, and we're going to discuss all of this with the notion that the Lions win the Super Bowl. Detroit, NFC North, fans galore, passionate, historic, in terms of, Lions being around since the 50s and before that. And I know that it was futility in terms of winning, but there's an organization in the NFC North that also has that kind of cachet and has respect. I feel like AG is a Bear. To me, I think that if you're the Chicago Bears and you're gridiron and you're nasty and you got that defense, if you can convince AG to bring, and you can fire Ryan Poles and you say to AG, hey, who from the Lions front office, maybe a Ray Agnew or another administrator, who can you bring here? Bring your guys, run this ship. You could see him bring in Kelvin Shepard as the DC. Maybe he goes to college. Maybe he takes some people from the Lions as well. You never know, but I do think that you have to kind of run it the same way the Lions ran it. You need also, beyond a good OC, you need the person that understands what kind of talent you're looking for. And so to me, I would take Ray Agnew, go to the Bears, and compete against Dan Campbell. What more fun is that than to compete against your friend and see how you match up? Because if you win with the Bears and you compete and you're battling back and forth, there's no better place in the world in the NFL than in the NFC North. So I do think that they'll make a pitch. I think that the Saints as well will, and the Jets. I would avoid the Jets because their ownership is terrible. It is terrible. I know the Bears are not that much better, but to me, the way that the violence talk, the way in which AG presents himself, hard-nosed, I think that suits the Chicago Bears style of football, in my opinion. But it's going to be open. I do think he'll have opportunities. I do think he'll go, And guys, I'm not scared of competition. You guys don't think that they're going to call Ben Johnson too? They're clearly, the Bears are going to probably look to the Lions and that's just the utmost respect. Now, do they do that? Let's see. Let's see if Glenn goes to the Saints where there's a tie. But if you're a competitor, if you're Aaron Glenn, I like to compete. Let's go. Dan's one of the best. I want to compete against my friends and see how it goes. But AG, man, it's going to be fun. But you guys were all right. You need to have a good OC. Look at what happened. You guys were talking about oh, well, defensive coaches and things like that. Well, look, the guy with the number 2 seed, Dan Quinn, well-respected, went out and got a well-respected offensive coordinator and Cliff Kingsbury, a young quarterback that's mobile. Boom, they're the number 2 seed. Tough loss to the Steelers, but I like what the Commanders are doing at the highest level. So there's room for defense still in the NFL, but you're absolutely right. The pathway's tougher with the rules, but I see AG having an opportunity for success. Similarly, if you get the support in 3 years, I think you'll have success where he goes.
Dan Quinn, friend of the show. Just saying.
And Doc, we seen Za'Darius coaching up the D-line this past Sunday. He's set to make his debut in the Den this Sunday. Just your expectations for him and how can he elevate this defensive line against the Jags, who've really had a struggling offensive line, struggling offense in general. Just expectations for Za'Darius come Sunday.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I think everybody's looking forward to seeing what Za'Darius Smith and probably how the defensive line is going to look in regards to Ali McNeil, DJ Reader playing with them and how that front's going to look and perform. And I do think that you guys brought it up. It's a great point. Success against the Jaguars. What a great way to debut against Mac Jones. I think he'll get 1 or 2 sacks, a lot of pressures. But I do think that the defensive line will perform at a very good clip, and it's going to be a great opportunity. It's going to be a great opportunity for this player to get into the fold. And look, man, how great was it if everybody saw him be able to coach on the sideline a little bit, be excited to be here. So I expect big things in regards to how the defensive line can improve with him in it. But in terms of his personal numbers, let's see, let's see how the time off helped him. And I'm excited to see what he can bring, especially when you look at Aaron Glenn too, and the way he's bringing blitzes and pressures and the way it kind of got a little bit better in the second half against Stroud. That was encouraging. So I'm probably like you guys, 1 sack, 2-3 pressures, and get into the flow, be impactful, and like Dan Campbell said, push the pocket.
Hey, Doc, can we get an injury update? I know we read some of the articles you put out, and a lot of the media kind of talking about it on Twitter, but Iffy, he had a full practice. Emmanuel Mosley, full practice. Laporta did not practice. What do you think of some of the guys that are kind of on the line here, like Iffy, Emmanuel Mosley, Taylor Decker, and the potential they might be ready to go this weekend?
Yeah, no, I don't think Iffy or Emmanuel Mosley will play this week. I do think that the Lions want to see them continue to progress. I've been trying to talk to Iffy, and he's serious, not really so much all about the media. But we'll see if he does talk to me. Emmanuel Mosley was a little bit better. I'm glad, Jeff, you checked out the interview. Very kind. And somebody that's been battling adversity. Be interesting to see if he gets in the mix. I do think he'll be a great reserve. Maybe play nickel in certain spots and play, behind Tyrion Arnold and Carlton Davis when they need to spell. So I do think that his pathway maybe is a little bit further than Iffy's, but we'll see. And they got a week left to decide. Taylor Decker spoke to the media today. It was great. Great interview that he gave. Felt guilty about missing the game, but like everybody else, was watching Jake Bates, confident that he would make it. But he had to be quiet because his wife was in bed sleeping, and her reaction is great. She wakes up, and he's like, "Yeah, we won." She's like, "Okay," and went back to sleep. So it was great. I was kind of hoping that when I asked him, I had asked Taylor Decker, like, knowing Jake Bates, were you nervous? Like, what happened? Were you like swaying like everybody with the football? And he's like, no, they have confidence in Jake Bates' big leg. And for him to get back out there, you could see just how much it impacted him to miss the game. So I expect Taylor Decker to be back. It's going to be interesting with Rodrigo. It's still early in the week now. We'll know more tomorrow on Thursday when they come out for the first practice. Wednesday, Dan Campbell's been doing some body maintenance for these guys, giving them Wednesday walkthroughs, which kind of, I think, has helped them recover now with the consecutive games. So the Detroit Lions are doing their thing to try to get as healthy as possible. But, man, the question kind of has been brought up online. I don't know if you guys are seeing the debates. You're playing the Jags. You're playing the Colts. Do you really got to rush back these guys? Let them be fully healthy. I mean, you probably don't even need Taylor Decker this week because of how bad the Jaguars are. They could play their best game and probably still not get within 10 points. So it's interesting to see how the snap counts from this game. But I do think that the healthy players are going to go. And good luck to the Jaguars because they're in for a long afternoon.
Yeah, and Doc, how are we feeling too? Last week, obviously, Carlton Davis had the 2 interceptions. What's the confidence level with Tim? Obviously, you trade for him. He's on the final year of his deal. Do you think like he's starting to kind of come into form as this, obviously the corner one here? Is this kind of going to turn into something long-term here in Detroit where they're going to want to keep him here after kind of the performance? It seems like Dan, honestly, the post game and everything, Dan loves him. And then that at least that's the sense that I get. What is the sense that you're getting out of the locker room and the coaching staff of Carlton Davis?
Yeah, real fast, just to address something about one of the commenters talking about Max Crosby. I don't think I flip-flopped. I gave you the facts. He wanted to come here, but it was going to take the world. It was pretty clear. Brad Holmes made the call. That was reported, but I reported that 3 weeks before it was officially reported. I reported it. Brad knew what it was going to take. So I don't think I said it's going to happen. I think that I said there was interest. Would I have done it? I would have did it. I would have done it. I would have given up 3 first-rounders and make it a guarantee. But, the Lions, their strategy too is also fine. But I'm all about going after it, taking the gamble. I'm one before I die. I don't care about sustained success. I don't care about those picks. I just want to up the odds that when they play the Chiefs and the Ravens, that they win it. And I'm getting closer to believing it, but I'm still at this point believing they make the Super Bowl, but battle in a tough game against the AFC opponents. We'll see how they look down the road, but I would have loved a big splash. It's fun, man. Why would you not, as a fan, say make a splash? So I think factually, accurately, we reported it as it was. And SI reported it all along the way too. From the moment the trade talks happened till it officially happened. So it's fun. The trade talks are the best time of year. And
no doubt.
It's the best time of year for us. And I thought the reporting was fair. And you can disagree with my opinion all you want, but there's no flip-flopping. I wanted Crosby. It was the long shot, but the conversations were had. And it's just the house is not something the Lions want to give up. So it's one of those deals. You look at this football team and the way they're going, man, it's just positive all the way around. And what was the question? One more time, because now this is hitting me. I am drinking. This is feeling good. What were we talking about?
Carlton Davis.
Carlton Davis. Yeah.
Thoughts on the Carlton Davis situation.
Carlton Davis. Great game by Carlton Davis. 2 picks. And look, that's what I love about this team as well. You get Jake Bates with the game winner against the team that cut him, and he's dancing all around, running around the field again on the field of the team that cut him. And if you guys saw Nolan Bianchi, great reporter, saw the photo of the Texans having a photo of a touchdown against Carlton. And so he wants to go back to NRG Stadium and avenge a bad performance that he had when he was with the Bucs, where he felt like it was his worst game as a pro. And he comes back and he gets 2 interceptions. It's just story after story like that of redemption, and the Lions needed it. Going into that game, no defensive back in 2024 recorded an interception, and that group is seeing all the love given to Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch, all their appearances, and now Carlton Davis gets into it. And I do think it's going to be interesting to see the negotiations and what kind of numbers will be thrown around. But I do think that he's earned a spot up until this point to be part of this. He's gritty. I think that he does what AG wants. Can play press man, can do a bunch of different things. A good vet for Tyrion Arnold, and somebody that for the game against the Houston Texans came up huge. That second interception, if the Texans get that touchdown, it would have been an uphill climb to get that victory. So credit to him. And at the same token, man, getting redemption against the Texans, a team that kind of rubbed it in. Good for him. He deserves some credit too. Now, the next one is Tyrion Arnold's got to get into the mix too. Hopefully, I think the next 2 weeks might be some stat padding time for the Lions defense.
Love to hear it, Doc. And somebody else on that defense that stepped up, and he continues to kind of shine. And it's not that we didn't expect him to, but there's definitely some questions around him going into the season. That's Josh Pascal. I think last week he had probably the best performance of his career. Kind of what Booner was saying about Carlton. What do you make of Josh's recent success in the stretch that we've seen? Obviously, he's been hurt, but coming back from this injury, he's looked really good. Why do you think he has been playing at this level that he has been compared to seasons prior?
Yeah, I like his game. Again, he's got to be available. And unfortunately, that little setback with the non-cancerous cells on his shoulder, thankfully removed, all good, all healthy. But you're always concerned when you find abnormalities on your body. But thankfully, he's back. Here's what he's developing, and he's a true leader. I do think that They want him to be more consistent in the pass rush, physical, can set the edge, go up against the run. The issue with the defensive lineman is just consistency. There's times where, fundamentally you got to be consistent. And if it gets out of whack, you don't set the edge. And then there's a play to the edge. And that's where teams kind of have been testing the Lions is towards the edge there. But I think when he's there, the reason why he's had better success is the fact that Terrell Williams is a great leader. I think that he's one in which is taking a lot of the young defensive linemen under his wing and showcase the fundamentals of how to play the position, and AG as well. So he's a developing player, and he's shown flashes. That's the thing that's tough, is that we want the whole kit and caboodle. Aiden Hutchinson was a finished product and was now the top of the heap. Josh is still developing in the system and is inconsistent and has been dealing with some injuries here and there. But when he's healthy, when he's ready to go and he's motivated now, another fellow Kentucky player there too in the locker room with Za'Darius Smith, I do think that there's an opportunity for this guy to take off and do some things, along with Levi Onwuzurike. So I just think that, with these guys, that you got to maximize your talent, stay fundamentally sound. And I think with the Lions, they're just looking for the players to, when they start to hit that growth, to consistently do the job. And it's just a tough position to play the edge and play all over. And that's one of the challenges for the young guys, is that they want them playing all over the defensive line. It's not easy to do, but the talent's there. And I do think that he fits a certain role and can achieve a lot of good things with the Lions.
Doc, the hero Jake Bates, we know he has a boot. We know he has a big leg, but are you kind of surprised at the way he's just showed up in every clutch moment for a position that we really, leading up to the season, had a bunch of question marks around and weren't sure if he was the guy? Has Jake Bates kind of surprised you thus far, and really just being one of the more clutch players?
Yeah, it's really crazy to see that story, because he's a soccer player, big leg. Basically, when I came on in the summer, I said, it's going to be great to see, can the Lions mold a kicker? And the answer is hell yes. They found the leg and they found the strength. And then through practice, through sheer will, through competition, and talent, Jake Bates, who appeared early in his career on the Lone Wolves podcast, was great. Good karma for him to talk to me and learn his story, learn the fact that he was cut and was thinking about doing other things, but also felt like he could compete and felt like he was a kicker. And what an opportunity. And guys, too, here's the other thing that Dan said openly that also needs to be credited, and what will make Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn wonderful head coaches. Dan already ran through that scenario a couple times in practice. So to Jake, it's just another play. That's why Dan Campbell is just really good at what he does. Preparation. Thursday, outside, they ran it. And of course, the first play, when you need to play is Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown. They get it to, Dan Campbell said, the plus 43. Okay? So what that means is when Jake Bates set up for the practice kick in front of everybody, and Dan Campbell will do some things to try and get in his grill, to try and annoy him, to try and do things to distract him, he steps up and nails a 60-yarder. So if you're at the plus 43, snap to the 50, you kick it through, it's a 60-yarder. He did that in practice in front of everybody. Told Dan Campbell, we got it. We're good. So when you see Dan Campbell's reaction, he's got that kind of grin on his face. It's a little bit because, the ball was just nearing that upright, but that was already done. He already practiced it. He's already seen it. He's already done it. And that's why this football team is legit a Super Bowl contender. They've been through it multiple times. And for Jake Bates, go up there, do your thing, man. Do your thing. You're the kicker of the future. You got the biggest thing that is most important for a kicker, strength. They'll figure out how to make sure it's accurate. And so far, so good. 250-plus yarders. Cheer Jake Bates, who's becoming quickly like a Jason Hansen in this town. And I think that guy could kick with Hogan Hatton and Jack Fox in that operation for many, many years to come. It's great to see, man, and it's good. I think this is happening. It's going to go down the lineage of Eddie Murray, Jason Hansen,
yeah,
Jake Bates, baby. Let's crown his ass. 39, baby. It's going to go in the rafters, and let's go. I think he's got the makeup to be somebody that's special, and I can't say enough good things about him. Good dude, solid dude all the way around, and is somebody that is making kicks that are clutch. That's the baddest. That's a bad man right there. Let's cheers to Jake Bates. Oh, man, he's a bad man.
Yeah, that's a bad man. I agree, Doc. I'll ask you, Josh Paschal. He looked good, and he's looking better every single week. He's someone that I think, I had a lot of expectations, kind of after Hutch went down. What do you think of Josh Paschal, his play, and kind of what you saw on Sunday? And can he carry it over to a Jacksonville team that can't really protect Trevor Lawrence?
I think the defensive line is going to be great. And, what is Josh Paschal paying you to talk about him this much? No.
Let me get a check.
Good one, Jeff. You're not paying attention to Gentry. You got to pay attention to Gentry.
Okay, you know what? That's on me. Just
no, it's all good.
No.
I can listen. Like the Pistons, you drop the ball. I can pick it up.
Pistons are up at halftime, Doc.
Look, the defensive line without Aiden clearly has struggled. All right, and clearly teams are going out to the outside to test, the run game, and there's been some struggles there, giving up a little bit more rushing yards than would have expected. But the Texans, they tightened it up, and it was the best thing to see was Joe Mixon pissed. Like he knew he thought he was this close, but when the lanes were there, they were sealed up because Jack Campbell's there and the linebackers are handling business. So I think that Josh Paschal is going to continue to grow, will benefit from this offensive line, from this defensive line growing together and having success. And against the Jaguars, my goodness, the Jaguars are coming in for, if you're Mac Jones, you should probably pull a hamstring on Thursday.
14-point favorites.
Not to be there because they're coming for him, and he ain't that mobile. So he's going to be feeling the heat all day long from Paschal, from Aleem McNeil, who deserves a lot of credit, and from Za'Darius Smith. So it's going to be a fun time. I just think this one has a chance to be a nice party, 2-3 touchdown win.
Hey, Doc, what do you think about Josh Paschal?
No, yeah, Doc. Hey, Doc. I want to. First of all, I have a question, not a question. You're a pro, Doc. I want to say that. I apologize for our teammates. I apologize, Doc. That won't happen again. I do want to ask you, though. Me and you had a conversation a couple weeks ago, maybe an argument about the calm down narrative. I want to know where you're at with that. Like, can Lions fans finally calm down? You've tweeted at me a couple times about it, especially after on Sunday. I just want to know, hey, can Lions fans finally calm down? And when there's a Super Bowl coming to the city of Detroit, where are we at with that, Doc? Like, give me a meter here.
Okay, good. Thanks for not asking me about Bates again. So that's good. That's a
progress. You're welcome. I'm a pro, Doc.
At least Doc heard my question. Continue.
Yeah. I listened to everyone's question. Well, first and foremost, now that there's new policies in place, maybe there'll be more police around Ford Field, so all the riffraff stop dropping their beer on the floor in front of Ford Field. I saw after the win a certain somebody slamming beers.
Listen, I cleaned up.
Great product on the floor, and watch your footing, bro. You almost face planted in front of the entire world. Good job.
What does Dan Campbell teach the guys? He teaches them perseverance, and that's what happens. You slip, you get back up. You bite a kneecap, you keep going. That's what I did, Doc. I did clean up the beer cans, and hey, I was told by the sponsor, let's slam the beers here. So there was no wasting of the beer. This is all very planned out as a Dan Campbell game
the Booner path. That was the Dan Campbell up down. That's what he was doing before practice. Dan Campbell always up down. Booner outside Ford Field. He hit the Real American Beer up down. That's all it was, Doc.
My first note was, where's the security? There's riffraff around Ford Field. But no, listen. I mean,
they were out there.
I got the best part of it. And listen, man, keep doing it. Do your thing. I'm just kidding. I absolutely love posting your reaction videos. Gets me hyped as I'm writing the 19th story of the day. I'm like, yes, Booner's still going. Kept me up till 3:00, and you guys were part of the reason why. So it happened again. What'd you ask me?
No,
Hey, fuck you, Boone. Fuck you, Boone. There you go.
I asked you about Josh Pascal, Doc. I'm
Yeah,
just
right.
kidding, No, I asked you about I wanted to see where your meter was at with the calm down meter.
Oh,
with the
calm
fan
down.
base.
Yeah. Okay, because I got distracted by one of the commenters said,
Doc, come on.
this dude's always getting drunk. Listen, the 30 seconds I talk about myself, I need to be celebrating. It's a great time to be me. Like I said, I'm blessed. It's a fun time. I cover the Detroit Lions, and people are dropping from the beat, and I'm going strong, and I'm going to be there until, like I said, my motto is until they throw me out, I'm doing that job. I purely love it. I'm never getting burnt out. I love the job to the highest degree, and I'm just enjoying life to the degree. There's not going to be too many people that are working 16-hour days, 7 days a week that are this happy. So I'm getting drunk all the time because I'm truly, truly happy. And no, people, the sports fans in Detroit were as loud as they ever were in that first half. You had calm down Mike Payton say, hey, guys, calm down about Jared Goff. Guess what? You guys aren't tweeting calm down enough. There's a certain segment of people that are still nervous about Jared Goff that said, does Jared Goff come back? The old Jared Goff come back in the postseason? Listen, the sports fan, you can run and hide from X. You can go to Blue Sky. You can go to Threads. You can go to wherever you need to go to be in your safe space. But trust me, when the Lions were losing, there was a segment of the fans that were not happy, and they were pissed. And it's still a 7-1 team at that point. So to me, I welcome, and my motto will always be, if you're pissed, be pissed. If you're a guy that says, I knew they were going to win, my honest answers are, I thought it was 45% that they'd come back. It wasn't 0. A lot of the reaction was like 10 to 20 at that time. So calm down again is still worthless. You can write it. And I think it's funny because everyone knows I'm right. You're not going to legislate the fans in regards to their reaction. If they lose to the Jaguars or the Colts, we all know really it's meaningless, but you will have a segment of the fans that will call radio stations, show up in this chat that will say, I'm nervous. I'm a little bit nervous. SOL still creeping. And the best part of that's the best part about sports is it's emotional. There's certain spots in life where you do not need to be that way, but in sports, emotion is the best. And I like sitting with fans like Booner. Like if I would watch a game, I don't want to watch it with somebody that's just going to sit there and be like, it's all good. It's all good. I want to sit with somebody that's a little bit passionate and be like, what the fuck are they doing in that first half? Goff, what the hell? Oh, this is old. I want to be around some talkers and some emotion. If you're the calm down crowd, that's boring. And as a content creator, that's also like, if you're an account that does that, it's boring. You need some that's why I think part of my success has just been going into in games. It's a bipolar roller coaster. A good touchdown, I'm happy. An interception, I'm asking, are you guys nervous? And I think emotions in sports is the best thing ever. And Detroit has some great fans. It spans the gamut of everything. You got the calm down crowd. You got the super homers. You got the laid back people getting high that don't even know the Lions were playing. So to me, it's an amazing group. But if you tweet calm down, again, in my opinion, it's irrelevant and will always be irrelevant because you don't have that control. You never will change somebody. Nobody's going to say, Booner's right. The guy that's slamming the beers and almost falling flat on his face, that's the guy I'm going to say, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to calm down and just not have that panic attack. Yeah, right. If the Lions are 16-1, that first game against the playoffs, I'm still probably going to be a little bit nervous going into that game, no matter what. That's the life of a sports fan, man. It's crazy.
Lions by 1 million every week.
Lions by 1 million, baby.
Doc, we're saying. Oh, wait, sorry.
Gamut?
The gamut means the large range of emotions with Lions fans, from the happiest of the happiest to the ones that were off the bandwagon at halftime.
He's in his vocab bag a little bit there.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I'm not the best
like
English language, but spanning the gamut of emotions.
Okay.
Well, okay. Something that I think,
like I said, I'm deep into this. I'm feeling good. Like I said, I feel good.
Yeah, Doc.
Something
Say,
that would
make sure you say your question twice here, Klotzy.
Hey, no. Hey,
No,
this is a different question. I made sure, hey, boys, I'm locked in. I don't ask the same question twice now. Come on. But something that would expand the gamut of Detroit Lions fan, Doc, that spread moved to 14 this week. Jeff kind of mentioned it during when you answered the questions. I think the Lions cover. Got Parker Washington, Mac Jones, Tank Bisbee, Ezra Cleveland. I mean, that offense for Jacksonville is loaded right now, Doc.
Do they? It's 13. Is it still 13 right now? The spread still lies minus 13?
It might be 14.
It's 14 now.
14. Oh, my goodness. Look at that real fast, that comment about Tyler. There were some people that wanted Hooker in the game at that point. I actually thought Hooker. You calm down. No, look, it's going to be close in that area. Look, I'm not the best. If you guys check Lions on SI, I actually have a great relationship with the gentleman that runs. Used to be played Michigan. There's a new name now for it, Drew Ellis. So he's great. You know, he was formerly of the Oakland Press, one of the nicest people. When we developed a partnership with the Oakland Press, he would read our content and never had an ill thing to say when we would make the early mistakes and, have to do corrections here. There's nothing factually, just grammar with like semicolons and all that nonsense. As we were growing and learning and getting content out fast, he was the most gracious individual. So when I had an opportunity to have control of content, I said, let me find somebody that is super smart in the field. And Drew Ellis is a gambling expert. We're talking about, can the Lions win by more than 14? And I'm curious, I will ask him, but I think, in my opinion, I think that this game is going to be right around that point where, it could get out of hand, but you never know who's going to be out of the game at that point. So this is one of those ones where they say on the card, I would avoid this one. That's a lot of points in gambling. So I would avoid this situation and just enjoy the game and find something with a little bit more value because it's going to be right. I think it's going to be right around there, maybe 30-16, 32-18. And you never know, you get the scrubs in the third, fourth quarter and it's over and they just let up some stuff. So that's where it gets a little bit tough. What do they call it? A dirty cover or whatever it is, bad comeback, whatever the vernacular is for that. But check out, we do have best bets. And so far, in 9 games, we are 7-2. So he's put some money in my pocket, and he will too. He does tend to pick favorites, but they're winning favorites. So even if it's minus 110 and it's something you hit consistently, you will make money. So I've paid him handsomely, and I have earned a lot of money from taking his bets.
And Doc, 10 games into the season, is there any team in the NFC that kind of worries you or that you think could rather contend with the Lions for the NFC, or maybe a matchup that you don't want to see? Maybe the Eagles, the 49ers getting healthy with CMC, just any team that in the NFC that you would think has a chance over the Lions or might give them a hard time in the playoffs?
Mm-hmm. Very good question. That's what we're now doing. We're speculating out. Diggity dog, come on. I'm a pro. I can handle a glass. Yeah, I'm a little bit buzzing, but I'm not going to get so hammered I pass out midstream. They can wake me up. They can call me. People are watching. I can't pass out here. I got so much energy. I could talk for the next 3 hours. But and you guys are great with your comments. So keep them coming. Ask questions. We'll acknowledge you. You guys make this fun for me as well. The love, the hate, all that good stuff. I'm not concerned about anybody, but one team that I want to see it come full circle. I know we talked about it a little bit last week. Commanders, man, that's fun. That's fun. Mobile quarterback, young, athletic.
No.
And Kingsbury, they're nice. They're nice. Not enough to win. But that's a fun game. The Eagles, I think the Lions can easily outduel them. 49ers. Commanders are the team. Number 2 seed, baby. That's the team. That's the team to be worried about.
Doc knows what he's talking about. Doc knows what he's talking about. They're coming to a realization you might not know.
They got coaching. They got McLaurin. They got Austin Eckler. Are you poo-pooing the Commanders?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
Austin
Brian
Eckler.
Robinson just back. Brian Robinson just returned this week.
Oh my God.
Saquon Barkley.
They are a winning football team that has good coaching. Those are teams that get hot and try to fuck up a season.
Spot on, Doc.
Also in the karmic atmosphere, like I said, in the world of karma, the Lions got to beat the Commanders to get past the Super Bowl. They got to put the whooping on them. They got to beat the young Bucks. But bro, you guys also got to remember, in sports, there's psychology. So who's going to have all the pressure in the world in a playoff game? The Lions. The Commanders are going to come in probably doing the same thing the Lions do. Flea flickers, McLaurin, Austin Eckler having a good time. Jaden Daniels trying to figure out a way to maneuver out of the pocket and evade the rush. So pay attention to the Commanders. May not be this year, but they're knocking and they're doing some things. So the team there, clearly the team that, obviously had a bad performance on Monday Night Football, but they got good matchups, is the Rams. They were competitive. I'm really glad the Bucks fell off. The Eagles, 49ers are around, but this NFC clearly shows the Lions and everybody else trying to chase them. So I like the Commanders as the team that I say, that they can make some noise in the postseason. If their defense does get after it. And remember, Quinn will fix that problem. Yeah, every team has warts. Every team has problems at certain spots. They got a nice offense, and when you can get a Hail Mary, something's going right with your situation. So, but don't let the Eagles get hot too. The Eagles can get hot and do some things to make things a little bit challenging with Saquon Barkley. But I think the Lions would be able to have a game plan, and I just think that Dan Campbell would coach circles around Sirianni.
No, I'm not saying like and the reason why, Doc, I'm glad you actually mentioned those two teams, because we have a little split here on the show. Me and Gentry feel the Eagles are better than the Commanders. Booner and Lucas feel the Commanders are better. I noticed you said they'll make some noise in the playoffs. Oh, yeah, they'll make fucking noise, all right. Enough noise. You can hear a pin drop. That's what they're going to do. It's going to be nothing. Nothing. Keep booing me. All right? Fine team, Doc. Excited.
Doc.
I think they're an incomplete team. They still got some holes they got to fill here. They're not like this.
Jeff has gone from Commanders Bears to now he has to throw in the Eagles instead of the Bears to Eagles Commanders. So like he's switched a couple times now. So he can take the Eagles train if he wants.
No, there's no switching. Number one, it was no switching. There was no Bears Commanders. It was Caleb Jaden Daniels.
Okay, there it is. Hey, Doc,
I said Eagles Lions NFC Championship. So
there you go, Mike. You know ball, Mike.
I said that.
Hey, it's all right. It's all right. Whatever you guys want to talk about there. I did say the Eagles would win that division, to be fair, but I did say Commanders would win.
Speaking of switch it up.
Go back. I said it back in August before all of you did. Or actually February before everyone else did.
You said they win the division?
I said the Eagles are going to win the division this year back in February. So, yeah, I just said the Commanders will make the playoffs as a wild card. Doc, I do want to ask you this. So I was ahead of you, Jeff. I want to ask.
We agree.
I just want to ask you, Doc. I'm trying to ask the Doc a question here, and I'm not asking the Josh Pascal question now. Doc,
hopefully he hears you. Hopefully he hears you. Go ahead, Boone.
Okay. Do you see another loss on this Lions schedule, and if so, where? We've been asking people this, the record breakdown. How many wins do you think they end up coming out with? I had mentioned, I think 15-2, which is crazy to think, but it seems realistic at this point. Where are you at with that?
That's a great question. Vito did a breakdown. I think he was at 15-2 as well. It's great to talk about. When's the next loss? It ain't going to be these next 3 weeks. No. Maybe one to the Bills. I think realistically 14-3 is realistic. And the reason why is one of them not on merit. One of them maybe the Vikings, where you rest your starters. That's going to be fun. I said on the latest Doc and Jock podcast on Detroit Sports Podcast, I said, it's going to be great now to learn Dan's philosophy on resting players. Who gets the rest? Who's going to play? Does he rest starters? Are we going to talk about rust? It's going to be great to start talking about championship conversations with Dan Campbell in the next few weeks here, but it's going to be fun. And I know for those that, are prone to talk about calm down and are really scared about Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn leaving, there's a lot of people nervous. You already got some fan accounts that want to just say, hey, pay Ben Johnson $7 million a year, pay Aaron Glenn $7 million a year. Let's not have them have any professional wanting to grow professionally. Let's just have them stay here in Detroit. Listen, most coordinators want to be head coaches. Most people want to run their own thing. They want to compete. They want to be the boss. So I do think that professional ambition is going to win out here. And Glenn and Johnson are gone. But you can calm down, people. look at this trio. Dan Campbell running the offense, calling the plays. Brian Daboll running the offense in terms of working with Jared Goff. And the man, the myth, the legend, Robert Saleh calling the defense. Now you got 3 NFL coaches running shit. There's a chance for a dynasty. Brian Daboll doesn't have to call plays. He can just work with Goff and the quarterbacks, keep Goff in line, and making sure that he continues to develop. Remember, he worked with Josh Allen as he continued to grow. Campbell, Daboll, and Robert Saleh, I just think makes me happy because those interviews would be great. They'd have a good time. They'd rib each other, and I think they could keep the momentum going. So I hope it happens. Listen, Brian Daboll is getting fired. There's no way that idiot owner will keep them there with that record and everything like that. No way. I think that it's under the radar with Daboll. Maybe he ends up staying there, but that's my scenario that says, hey, I don't have to worry if Johnson and Glenn leave at the same time. That's what I like. And typically the things that I like have been good for business. And I think this would be good for the Lions and great for me. So I'm hoping that happens. Listen, there's a legitimate chance outside the box. This one, like I said, the realistic professional side of the doc will say 14-3, 15-2. But fuck it. Who's to say they don't go 16-1? They just don't say, you know what? Fuck it, guys. Let's just fucking go and be the number 1 seed. We don't want to lose any more for the rest of the year. They're like, fuck it. We're winning. This is fun. This is great. We can win every scenario possible. It's the most complete team. Dan Campbell can make mistakes. Literally, when you look at the cosmic universe forces out there, Aiden Hutchinson gets hurt, they still win. Brian Branch gets ejected, flips the bird, they still win. Jared Goff has 5 interceptions, they still win. Fuck it. Until they lose, they're not losing. The fan in me says, let's just go 16-1, 2 games in the playoffs, and the Super Bowl. Fuck it. The guy that's happy now with the drink in his hand, 19-1, baby. That's fun to me. And let's go kick some ass. And, let's keep taking these teams into the abyss and drowning them and winning these football games. 19-1. Who says no? Why not?
Yeah, Doc's slappy, maybe. Doc, you got a little bit slappy now? What's going on, Doc? A little slappy now? 16
yeah, it's fueled by this delicious, man. This Elijah Craig, 4 ounces, old-fashioned, delicious. Yep. You want to know how I got this recipe?
Yeah.
Best thing ever. I go to Kansas City with the wife. We go to one of the bars that actually Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift frequent. We go there the night before the game. I took my wife to Kansas City. We're hanging out in the bar, and I start drinking these old fashions. I'm like, God damn, these are delicious. Fucking expensive, but these are delicious. So the bartender was super nice. She's like, y'all hanging out? You want to come to my tailgate? We're like, we just met you like 40 minutes ago. She's like, yeah, come to my tailgate. And she invited us, and my wife didn't end up going. She wanted to do other stuff. I ended up going to the tailgate, had a good time, became friends with a Chiefs fan, and her tailgate is literally right across from the stadium, like literally 5 steps and you're there. And she's had tailgates there forever, and she's a bartender. So I said, those old fashions were amazing. DM me the recipe. How did you make those? And she DM'd me the recipe, and I was like, oh my God, a little bit of maple syrup, a little bit of this, a little bit of dash, a little bit of this. I got all the ingredients, and for the last year and a half, I've been enjoying the single best, probably valued at $20 a glass, old fashions a couple times a week when I'm stressed out. So these are great. So they're great. They make you feel good. They make you say 19-1 and have a good time with it. And it's a great way to end a long ass day. Because you guys got to remember, I'm busy covering sports at the highest level in the NFL, but I also do a couple other things as well. So I'm a busy guy. I like being busy. And at the end of the night, 1 glass. That's it. It has my name on it too. The conceited guy. I am now in the phase.
You got his name on it?
I am in the phase of putting my name on stuff. So it's great. I put my name on stuff, and it's the best. 1 glass a night is all I need. talking to you fellas, talking shit online, going on all the social media platforms. And then, at the end, I checked the stats for the day's work. And my God, I was like, first of all, how the fuck are that many people looking at this face? Like, I'm putting my face out there even more. I'm like, how are the numbers doubling and tripling? I was like, and I want to credit AB, the legend that you guys know, you guys as well. I said to you guys, like, I was just a guy that wanted to be a behind the scenes guy. You guys are like, do the videos, just put yourself out there. AB was like, just do it. It's the way to go. And since I've been doing it, I can't explain it. And I think it's because it's good information. It's fun. It's realistic. And it's something where I think people know, no matter what, whether you like me or you don't like me, the DOC is real. And if you come up to me in the streets, I'm going to say hi. And we can, and thanks to you guys, every time I'm walking in the streets, hey, Doc, what's going on? Hey, Doc, keep fucking with Booner. It's great. And I'm like, yeah, no doubt. I'm never going to stop.
Hey, Doc, before you go, can I get, I really want to, and by the way, this is brought to you guys always by BetUS, but I got to ask you, Doc, Pistons 5-7. Come on, Doc, give me something here. All right. They're competing. Very fine franchise right now. What do you think of the Pistons so far? And they're up against the Bucks right now.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's look, I'll say this. I desperately want to interview Monty Williams. The man stole, and he stole. He did some things. I don't know. There was never listen, everyone's saying at least JB Bickerstaff cares. What did Monty Williams do to warrant the Pistons trying to bend over backwards for him? He literally didn't know that it was probably wise to play Jaden Ivey. This is a basketball mind. What was he doing? He was trying to get fired. I don't know what that deal was with him, but I want to talk to him. I want to be like, listen, man, did you just come here to know you're going to rob the money, get fired, and know that anybody in their right mind knew that Troy Weaver was a fraud and was getting fired? You knew that there was no way he would last and then you would get fired too? He knew it. There was no way that bright mind did not know that he was going to get that contract and then get blown out and take all that money and walk away. There's no way he didn't know that. Genius move. Slick move. But now we can turn the page on that disaster, one of the worst Pistons hires of all time. Now you get a guy that's fundamentally sound, that at least has this team playing well. And guys, clearly, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. It doesn't take Trajan Langdon to know, hey, get some shooters. Hey, Tobias Harris, Cade Cunningham, Tim Hardaway Jr., do your thing, develop these players, and play some defense. And Cade Cunningham has done some things to grow throughout the year. Triple-double machine. I'm enjoying watching. I watch from afar, and I thought that it was great to see them take the Emirates Cup seriously. Hell, why not? Why not the Pistons win the cup and have fun with it? I put out when people asked, I said 32 wins, 32 wins. That's growth, and there's opportunities for this basketball team to get better. So I'm watching, and good for them. And hey, why not steal from the Lions? Grit. That's what they're doing. It is probably from the going to work Pistons. So, hey, you embrace grit as much as humanly possible. And this basketball team's gritty. And that's all you can ask for. But I will say this, because Corey asked it, guys, if one of the guys on the Pistons is down on the ground and is hurt, it's probably not the best time for the Jared Goff chant. I don't know the context. I didn't see it live. Corey asked it to Jared Goff, and Jared was like, I have no clue, boss, what you're talking about. I guess the Jared Goff chant broke out when one of the Pistons got hurt in yesterday's game. Don't do that. If someone gets hurt, hey, quiet, make sure they're okay. I don't know if that was because there was a lull in the action. I didn't see what happened, but if Corey asked it, then it happened. So I thought that Jared Goff chants, they're cool. They're cool and all. But just like you said, within the time I've answered this question, they're probably going to choke another lead. But in the end, they're competitive. They're at least fun to watch. And that's at least the starting point for a Pistons squad. And luckily for me, being that I am an employed NFL writer, I don't have to worry about paying $6.99 a game for FanDuel Network. I have access to the games. I wouldn't pay that ever. And I'm happy to have access to all the sports in town. And I'm thankful that I think Trajan Langdon and JB Bickerstaff will at least get the Pistons from the basement to at least mediocre. And that's a start.
There it is. All right. Well, hey, Doc, you know what? It's always fun, Doc. It's always fun. We appreciate you always joining the program. You guys can check out Doc's stuff. He's grinding, absolutely grinding. Hence why he rewards himself when he joins the fellas. He lets loose. You know, he's been grinding every single day of the week. Doc, we appreciate you. We'll catch you next Wednesday. Keep being you. And hopefully, hey, now you got to make it a thing, Doc, where every week you show up with a different color hat. Now you have to be consistent.
I got many. We got merch. I've had merch. I just keep it all to myself. That's the problem. I'm selfish. I'm not selling. Oh, and remember, guys, I always want to acknowledge this with my last 60 seconds. No matter what, come hell or high water, everything you see from me, always FREE, free. No subscriptions. You don't got to sign up extra to see my interviews. You don't got to do no paywall action. You don't got to do anything. You just visit at Detroit Podcast, and everything related to the Lions that I can bring you will be there. Come hell or high water. If they force me, I'm going to push back and say, best fans in the world, support at the highest level. FREE, no matter what. You don't got to subscribe. It's all free for you guys because you've rewarded me with the best sports life ever. And you guys as well know what I'm about and share things with you guys as well. So come visit free at Detroit Podcast, Detroit Sports Podcast. We're in the mix, guys. I can't wait for next week. Is it Wednesday already? I want to talk again. Let's keep talking.
Hey, you know what, Doc? Good to hang out. There you go.
Keep talking.
Yeah,
you're a legend, Doc. Oh, he just left. He kept saying FR. You guys know that song, the FREE, that spells free. You know that song, the jingle.
Didn't? Oh no, no.
Creditreport.com. You guys remember that?
Did not just drop the creditreport.com.
When he kept spelling
the jingle.
Yeah, he kept saying, "Don't forget, guys, FREE," and all I could think was that spells free, and then the rest of the song. Like, that's all I thought of.
Well, guess what? It's free. Jock joins us. He does a great job. So, as always, brought to you guys by BetUS. Time to get to my impact players. I got some more players this week are going to make an impact. I'm telling you, they're going to make a bigger impact than Klotz's watch list tomorrow. He's going to piece it here. Hey, now we're having a rival. Now it's a rival. Now we have beef. It's like the two restaurants that are like ball. It's like these it's like those two restaurants that are right near each other. It's like who's better deals. You know, we're going at it right now. And I'll tell you this, all right?
The price match.
Hey,
American.
Hey, I'll tell you this. Jared Goff is going to make a tremendous impact because the man is coming off 5 interceptions. 5 interceptions. That's speaking of like that's like a commercial right there. 5 interceptions Jared Goff threw. He overcame it. Even though, you know, a couple of those are kind of whatever, but he overcame it. Lions won still. This week he is going to bounce back and he's going to light up this Jags secondary. Touchdown Jameson Williams. It's already going to happen. Touchdown Amon-Ra St. Brown. Touchdown Brock Wright. Touchdown Penei Sewell. I think Penei Sewell maybe even gets in there. He's going to have a great game. That's why I have Jared Goff on this list. The next player I have to make an impact this week, a pretty big impact, is, this is obvious, boys. I don't even have to, come on, really? Do I even have to dive into it? It's Za'Darius Smith, the big fella, the acquisition. The man who's coming in playing his first game of the Detroit Lions, and he's fired up. He's playing in front of the home crowd. I think he gets a sack this week. He's going to make a tremendous impact on that defensive line, make everyone else better. Even if he ends the game with 0 sacks, someone else will get one because of the impact Za'Darius Smith has. If they try and double him, Josh Paschal might get loose. Ali McNeil might get loose. Hell, even DJ Reader might get loose, or James Houston might get loose. And I'm not talking about getting loose, in the drawers there. I'm talking about getting loose and getting sacks. All right. And that's what he's going to do. So Za'Darius Smith, no doubt, impact player this week. The third player, the 30 sick motherfuckers. The third player is David Montgomery. David Montgomery this week. After last week, he struggled. He did. The offensive line in the run game early on did struggle. They started running behind Kevin Zeitler, Penei Sewell with Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs showed up, played very well, had some huge runs. D-Mont, little quiet. Still scored, but quiet. This week, it will not be quiet David Montgomery. It's going to be loud David Montgomery. I'm talking 80, 90 yards on the ground. I'm talking 4 or 5 yards a carry. I'm talking touchdown. I'm talking 2, maybe. I mean, how many touchdowns do you think Dave Montgomery scored? He's going to get at least 1 this week. He's going to double it up from last week. And I think Dave Montgomery is going to be a big part of what they do this week on offense. And if they have a huge lead, they're still going to run the ball. And D-Mont will be powering through, making anyone on that Jacksonville Jaguars defense pay. So those are my 3: Jared Goff, Za'Darius Smith, Dave Montgomery, to make an impact. There's some that were left off, but these 3 I felt were the most deserved on the list.
You want me to be honest with you, Jeff? And I'm typically brutally honest with you. I think he killed it. I think you absolutely crushed this one this week. Usually I'd be like, there's this guy, you shouldn't have had. I think all 3 of these guys had big impacts this week. And I think everything's set up for it. D-Mont's had a couple down weeks, set up for a huge impact. Jared Goff coming off a tough week in Houston. Big time bounce back and impact. And same with Za'Darius Smith, first week as a Detroit Lion. Like these 3 guys right here, if I had to list the top 3 impactful guys that I think we're going to have this year, and you can make a comment. Obviously, you can always say Brian Branch, this guy, you can always say the best players. But I think these 3 guys are the guys that you're looking at specifically being like, hey, we need big games out of you this week. And they're also all set up to have big games.
Man. Give it, man.
Jeff, you don't need to listen to him.
I maybe would have went a different direction, but hey, did your job.
Jeff, you did a great job.
I think you did a good job too, Jeff. I think we all kind of expected Za'Darius and Goff, especially Goff after last game, to be up there. I am a little surprised by the third one. I didn't know you would take that route, but I agree. I think Monty, after a few sluggish weeks, he's going to have his game. I don't know. Lucas here is probably thinking Gibbs again, but either or. They're both quality impact players to look out for.
So you know what? You know what I'm looking for, guys? I'm looking for Lucas to not like the list because I get confidence it's a good list. All right, that's how I know. If Klotz doesn't like it, I'm doing something right. All right, and here, I think I did a fine job. All right, Jared Goff, Za'Darius Smith, and David Montgomery. Yeah, could I have mentioned Brian Branch, Kirby Joseph? Yes, there are other players.
You can put those good players on every week. You have to think outside the box. You thought outside the box.
Boom. Talk to him, bro.
I think you did a good job. Typically in the past, you put players on that are obvious. You did a good job this week.
Okay, that was a shit. That was a shot. We just took
a little
shot.
Backhanded compliment. I apologize. Didn't mean for it to sound like that.
Hey, we were almost through the segment without a shot. We were almost through.
That's on me. It just came out wrong. Yeah. That's on me. I apologize.
Hey, it's all right. Hey, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. After that game, I think Jared Goff goes out there and throws, 3 tutties, no picks, 250. Book it. That's what's going on. I just got a notification here. Pistons have lost the lead.
It is a 1-point not lead. They're down 1.
Fuck.
Come on now.
It's all good. Can we have some people in the chat drop some mailbag questions? Like the stream, subscribe, all of that, and hit the like button for us. Share it, comment, and let's get mailbag, boys. While Jeff sits over there and just in misery.
Yeah, you know what's bullshit is Duren has 4 rebounds.
Well, now he's going to play the whole time because it got relayed to us that Isaiah Stewart got ejected for a flavor.
4 rebounds in a quarter.
It can happen. He might have been in foul trouble because he has 3 fouls. So
who does?
Duren.
No, Duren. He was early. He got benched like most of the first quarter.
Got to play now. All the rest of the game. Yeah. No choice.
He's only played 16. I mean, how many minutes? 19 minutes.
Yeah, he has to play the rest of the game, most likely.
Oh, unless Paul Reed comes in. No, I'm just kidding. No, leave Paul Reed on the bench. Yeah. Let's see. Michael. Actually, we'll start with Tyler. What do you think of the little Chinese player on the Grizzlies? Okay, that's aggressive.
No, he does. He is little. I think the Chinese player was the aggressive. We didn't need that. Just the little player on the Grizzlies.
He's pointing him out. He's just pointing.
Yeah, that's fair. But he is very small. Like he is out there. He looks like he looks like a kid, but he's a buck. Like he's good. He can pass. Yeah, he could pass the rock. He will dime it to you, and he can score too. He's actually I was watching his highlights because when I first was watching the Grizzlies the first time this year, I was like, I think it was preseason. I was like, who is that? Like, who is this guy? And then I went and looked it up. He was like the MVP in like some overseas league.
Yeah, I'll just trust Boone on that one. I know the Grizzlies have. Is that it? They've been teaching him slang, I believe. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're the fan. He's like a fan favorite. Like the fans love him.
I think they've been teaching him like on God and all this like some different things. He can say all this stuff. All right, Michael Daly says, is it Dolly or Daly? I think it's Dolly. Regardless, Mailbag drunk doc mentioned
that's Daly.
That's definitely Daly, but yeah, go on.
Dolly? I've never heard someone say Dolly.
Okay,
That's crazy.
Bro's picking up packages with his last name now, apparently.
I mean, if it was D-A-L-I, like Ali, like Dolly. But
I'm just getting code.
D-A-H-L-Y?
It's D-A-L-Y. It's Daly.
I'm just saying.
Like John Daly.
Yeah, John Daly. It's pretty simple.
All right, okay, God. Dude, let me get through the damn question. I know you want.
You asked. We responded.
No, I didn't. I was asking Michael what it was. All right, Daily. Thank you, Michael. All right, sorry about that. Michael says, "Drunk Doc mentioned Robert Sala's DC. Who are your picks for OC and DC if they both leave?" I think OC. I think they'll both be in-house hires. I think that's how Dan's going to probably operate.
Disagree.
Can I finish?
Vehemently disagree.
I know, like this guy is just ready, dude. I swear to God.
Hey, dude,
don't let Booner say I don't like to argue. He loves to argue. All right,
I do. Yes, I've never said I don't like it. I love it.
Okay, hold on.
All right, I have said. I
think Tanner Ekstrand is OC, and I think Calvin Shepard, to Lucas's credit, earlier for calling that. I think he has a chance to be DC. So I think they'll both be in-house hires.
I think Tanner gets the job. As much as I would want Kelvin, and I'm with the Klotz on that, Kelvin Shepard, I think there's so many DCs that have been head coaches around the NFL that have gotten let go recently, like the Robert Salas, Mike Vrabels. Like if those guys are available and aren't head coaches next year, I don't see a world where Dan doesn't go get one of those guys. I think it's just realistic. And Klotz, I think what you have been saying is correct. At some point, Shepard is going to be a DC. It's just like I think the timing of it to where if AG leaves, there are so many former DCs that were like elite in the NFL already that it's like if you have a chance, like if they have a chance to go get one of those guys, like Dan's gonna, it's like you can't pass those guys up. That's just what it is. And I don't think it's a knock on Shepard either. I think he's gonna have an opportunity one day. I just think Tanner's been kind of ready for it, and he's already been interviewing for OC jobs, and Shepard hasn't yet on the DC side. So,
hey, I don't hate it. I'll go outside of the organization. If I had to pick an OC, probably go with Kellen Moore because he just finds a way to always put up good numbers with the team, and then for some reason he's booted out of there. In DC, give me the reunion. Give me the man out of Cleveland right off of Lake Erie. Give me Jim Schwartz. Bring him back.
That's a good one.
That's
a really good one.
I understand people might not like his persona as a head coach, but as a defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, doesn't matter where he goes. Won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. That defense, they didn't have any stars up front, but they found a way to beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Bring Jim Schwartz back home. So I'd go Kellen Moore and Jim Schwartz.
The offense OC, I think they do go in-house, but I've said DC for a long time now. If it isn't going to be Salah, I would go get the guy who wears Honolulu blue on the desk every Sunday on ESPN, Rex Ryan.
I don't hate that one either.
Go get Rex. Go get Rex. Every Sunday, he's wearing the Honolulu blue for a reason. He's having a tryout every Sunday, and all he does is gas up the Lions. He's never said a bad thing. Bring him home. Give me Rex.
His son's on the staff, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right, Boone.
Dude, you guys see what I'm saying with the defensive side of things? Is there's so many dudes out there like currently where it's like you kind of like if Vrabel's available, I would throw the bag at Vrabel.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah, I would throw the bag at I just don't. I love Kelvin Shepard, but there's just so many big time DCs out there, big time. All right.
All right. Let's see. Scratch golf.
I mean, you go back to say.
Oh, Jeff is getting so mad.
Mailbag, Chiefs or Bills this week? Well, we'll answer that Friday because we'll do our pick 'em. So I can no answer today.
What a big
You know
week
where
for
I'll
games.
reside. You know where I'll reside.
I think the Chiefs get their first loss this week. I'll take the Bills, but either way.
All right. Trey says, do you think James Houston continues his progression without the Gatorade bridges? That's a hell of a line there. I don't know. This one's tough. I'll say he continues his progression because he has no choice but to. It'll only go up, but I don't think it'll be like astronomically going up. It'll be like a steady improvement. I don't think it's going to be James Houston rookie year in like 3 weeks. I think that's where I'm at.
I was watching, and shout out to fellas. Shout out Easy, Spenny. I was watching the heavies. They were talking about James Houston. I think it might have been Easy. It was like James Houston, like 5.5 sacks or 4.5 sacks or something like that. Like he had one good game. Like, do we not remember that he was a healthy scratch for 4 weeks, and the other weeks that he did play, the man had like a million flags, and Easy was like, well, he had 15 snaps and he has a sack already. Let's give this some time. Like maybe he does end up getting back to where he was before, and Dan said it today, or someone said it today. Like if he does, dude, like all right, him and Za'Darius and Levi and Josh, like you're in a really good spot going forward if James does that. But like again, this was like a small sample size of a bigger sample size that we've gotten throughout the season, training camp, preseason, regular season. Like this was his first like good snaps of the year. So like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, 5.5 sacks out of James Houston, lock it in. Like no, I'm not even gonna think that he's gonna give me 2 or 3 more this year.
What did he get credited with? 1 sack or sack
and
a half?
1 sack.
Yeah, so I could see Za'Darius Smith at the end of the year max having, or Za'Darius Smith, my fault, James Houston having a max of like 3. Like I think maybe he could put another performance like that together. But I mean, if he does come up with 4 or 5 sacks, great. That's why Brad probably didn't draft or trade for Azeez Al-Jawari at the deadline. He's probably like, hey, pretty much got the same thing in James Houston, but he hasn't produced yet. So maybe Za'Darius. I saw Tyler saying in the comments he's able to coach him up a little bit, help him. But I think, like Booner said, like even when you watch James Houston, like against the Packers, James Houston was getting thrown around. Like even when he was on the field so far before last week, he was just getting abused out there, drawing penalties on himself. False start or offsides. I mean, so I don't know. I think there's gray skies still covering the city of James Houston right now.
Jeff, I would like to say I think Paul Reed is the game. I don't think Jalen Duren is playing.
No, he's in there.
Is he?
No, he fucking sucks.
No, Jalen Duren's in the game now.
No.
All right, is he back in?
No, I mean.
If anyone wants to know, Jeff texted us this morning, gave us a parlay, and I said, Jeff, how do we feel confidence level? He said 11 out of 10. He said, I'll put my reputation essentially on this one. And he broke it all down, play by play, like deep breakdown. And I said, hey, I trust you. And you know what, Jeff? All respect. I think
everything's gonna hit, but Duren.
What have I told you the last week about Duren?
Dude,
keep him out.
I'm never putting a penny on that fucking guy the rest of his career. So
run it by me. Remember, what's the rule? No bet list. Who do you run it by? Me? Guess what? Accepted. Jalen Duren on the no bet list. He's on Booner's now too.
I'm never betting. Fucking Jalen Duren, dude, gets in foul trouble too much. I mean, he just does. It's actually incredibly. It's actually impressive how many fouls this fucking guy gets. It's impressive. All right, we'll get out of here. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the doc. We'll be back tomorrow. Try and lock in a special guest. Boom. We'll see if he joins or not. But until then, we will catch you guys. See ya. Get your merchandise.